of success, finding Taylor is going to have to be of premium.
They needed 9, and that's exactly what the Owls got. Luca Rumberg, a tight end offset left. Benjamin remains the back in there with Dean on 1st and 10. Opening drive of the game for the Owls. As DePauw won the toss and elected to kick. Another pass from Dean. This time works the right side, and he's able to slip it in through to Rumberg. And another first down play there. Aaron Wagner gets the stop. That almost was a pick going the other way for the DePauw D.
Joey Rowland was the linebacker to the field side, took a gamble on the pass from Dean, wasn't able to get there, connects with his receiver. Another first down for the Owls.
That's 12 yards on the pitch and catch. A little wobbly, but Rumberg, the backup tight end from Brooklyn, New York, hauls it in. It's a 2-for-2 start here for Ryan Dean. Lumberg is a tight end offset to the right. Play action. Little swing right out to the near side. Spinning out of a tackle is Brendan Comerford. And he gets out near the 40, and another tackle from Aaron Wagner, but the DBs and the defensive backfield doesn't make a lot of stops here early on for DePauw.
This is part of calling a game as an offensive coordinator. Blake Cottrell, now in his 3rd season as offensive coordinator, understands the importance when you're going against a formidable defense. Hey, let's get to the easy hitters, guys getting balls that are playmakers, and let's go make the defense stretch sideline to sideline and loosen this thing up a little bit.
3 straight passes for Dean, now gives off to Benjamin. Big hole right up the middle, and Benjamin explodes throughout near midfield. This Kenyon offense humming here out of the gate.
This is exactly what you have to do when you go on the road. A ruckus environment, you understand who your opponent is, and after you already had them going sideline to sideline, you allow your offensive line to then lean on them and open up a big crease for Benjamin to take advantage of.
Second carry of the day for Benjamin. He picks up 9 yards. That's the 3rd first down of the first drive of the game here for Kenyon. It was all DePauw when these teams met a year ago. Dean rolls out 3 for 3, and there's his first incompletion off the hands of Comerford.
That's just an easy pitch and catch that you would just love to see Dean connect on. Those ones that are essentially gimmies. You want to connect. You're already rolling a little bit. Don't take negative plays. Although it's still 2nd and 10, don't take any negative plays just by missing your targets with high throws or errant misconceptions.
They had run 3 straight pass plays in the middle of this drive, all connecting to 3 different receivers. 2nd down to 10, clock stops. An opening drive of the game, trip set to the bottom of the screen. Dean looks to the tight end on the far side, and he leads Rumberg too much, and that might have been good enough for a first down. The DePauw defense starting to strengthen here a little bit.
That was Dominic Siebel, the defensive end that just was praised for how athletic he is and how hard he plays. A guy from Cathedral, if I must say, my alma mater back in Indianapolis, but just doing a phenomenal job for the Tigers. He was the one that forced that throw to come out a bit sooner than I know Dean would have liked.
You get a little bit of both today. You get a lot of Cathedral guys and then a little bit of purple out there for Kenyon. You're a little split here out there.
That's exactly right. And just go with whatever the hot hand is at the time.
Here's the first 3rd down of the day, and a false start's going to make this a little bit longer here as we'll get to hear from Ronald Swindell for the first time today. I hate when I forget to turn my mic on, too. So the false start. False start on the Owls makes us a little bit harder. What have you liked from the DePauw defense in these last 3 stops after it was chunk play after chunk play for Kenyon early?
I think there's a level of getting acquainted with the game that's in front of you for an offense and for a defense. They've capitalized on some missed targets by Dean to his receivers. They tightened and stiffened up right at the perfect time, and then even better, conducive down and distance, 3rd and 15 for defense to put some pressure on and get off the field.
From their own 43, Kenyon trying to pick up another first down here. It's the first 3rd down they've had to face here on this opening drive of the game. Dean with pressure, throws across his body, somehow slips it through and gets a big completion to the DePauw 39-yard line. And hauling that one in, Charlie Taylor, his 2nd catch today, and it moves the sticks.
But as you watch, that was defensive lineman just inside Chris Green, the nose tackle. He actually gets through, forces Dean out of the pocket, but Dean doing a nice job. Even though he was flushed out, keep your eyes downfield and find that old Mr. Reliable. And Charlie Taylor doing a nice job picking up another first down on this drive alone.
That's an 18-yard pickup for the Kenyon offense on 3rd and 15, and they're successful in their first money down attempt of the day. Dean remains in the pistol. Play action, Benjamin swings it out to Comerford, his second grab, and it'll be a short one as holding on to that foot was Zach Reese, the starting safety from Franklin, Indiana.
It's a guy that as soon as we asked what players to look for on this DePauw defense, Zach Reese was the first player that Coach Deeds talked about. Plays in a bunch of different packages. Actually, starting this game, leads the team in tackles with 13. So just a nice job flying downhill, especially when you're playing to the field side of this offense and you're on defense. It's important with all that space to really get those ball carriers down.
You can see Joey Rowland trying to rip that pass out of there. It's a 5 of 7 start here for Ryan Dean as he's connected on his last 2 passes. Second down snap almost gets away, but Dean throws that paw out there, hauls it in. He's got a man down the field, lobs it up, and it is caught by Brendan Comerford. Another grab for the California native. And after that little sputter on a couple of downs there, Kenyon's right back moving again.
It feels like DePauw's defense said, I dare you to run the football. And the Kenyon Owls said, that's okay. We're actually going to air it out with our young quarterback. We're going to move the pocket. We're going to stand in the pocket. But all that means is we're going to find targets down the field. That's exactly why they're in scoring position. It's just a little under 5 minutes to go in this first quarter.
Goal to go after a 30-yard pass up to Comerford. 5'6" junior out of California. And a picture-perfect start here for the Kenyon offense. They've taken 5 minutes off of the first quarter clock. Benjamin on the ground, and he runs into a wall of Tiger defenders and gets pushed back immediately.
It helps when you're a great run defense and you get to this part of the field, not as much space to defend. All your run keys can be a bit more aggressive, and that's what you see of the flurry of defenders from the Tigers swarming to Benjamin as he was trying to break free.
Leading the way was one of these 3 sophomores from Ben Davis High School, Tariq Jimo Oyashigi, 2 in black, part of a triplet set from the folks on the west side of Indianapolis that have now made a home here in Greencastle.
That's a sophomore class for this DePauw team that they're very excited about. Young, athletic, and physical football players that are just from the west side of Indianapolis.
No gain, 2nd and goal from the 7. Benjamin cuts it back up. He'll get to the 5, but it'll be 3rd and goal from 5 yards away there. Siebel making another tackle for DePauw.
Doing a nice job. It's a 2-part thing. When you're the end man on the line of scrimmage defensively, yes, you have to close down the airspace with whatever technique you're coached to do. But then once the read is given, you have to then go attack and be a football player, and he did exactly that, not allowing Benjamin to take advantage of some open seams on the backside of the run play.
Throwback uniforms today for DePauw, reminiscent of the 1981 Tigers football team. It's a little bit more of a meshier look than what you normally see here in 2025. 3rd and goal for Kenyon. They're 1 for 1 on this drive from 3rd down. Goal to go here as they take it under 8.5 on the first drive of the game. Comerford in motion. Dean rolls. Looks to the end zone. Back corner has a man there, and it is caught. Dylan Carlquist, senior out of Arlington Heights, Illinois, gets his first touchdown of the season, and a 13-play drive for the Owls ends in 6.
Just well run. You see Dean buying himself some time, allowing his receiver Carlquist to get in perfect position and then deliver a football that is on time and right before he went out of bounds. The toe drag, that would have been good on Sunday as well. Touchdown for the Owls.
So a drive that started at their own 13. 13 plays, finds pay dirt here for the Owls, and the lefty Tyler. Actually, that's not Tyler Bell, their normal kicker, on to attempt the extra point. It is up and through for Sebastian Jones. And so Jones puts through his first PAT attempt of the year. And a picture-perfect drive for Kenyon. 13 plays, they find the back of the end zone.
That's exactly how you draw it up if you're Coach Ian Good. You want the ball, you take the ball, you then go down, you score, you strike first. You're the one that initiates the fight right here at DePauw Stadium in front of their home fans. Now the interesting part is as this game goes on, coaches start to make adjustments. How do the Owls respond to the adjustments defensively from the Tigers?
A lot of shocked folks in black and gold in the home stands today, and Kenyon 13 plays, 87 yards. It takes 6 minutes and 41 seconds off the first quarter clock. And if you're DePauw, you got to be sitting there going, and again, they have the #1 rush defense in Division III, but they got to be sitting there going, oh, this is a different Kenyon bunch than we saw a year ago.
100%. You always have the what you watched on film team and the team that you actually are playing against on game day. Sometimes can be jarring and sometimes two different feels. I think the feeling that I get right now, DePauw a little bit shocked but about the team that they're facing right now and how they struck first. So now looking for a response from the Tigers.
Sebastian Jones just kicked that PAT through. He's a senior from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Carson Johnson, one of the deep men, and then this one booted out of bounds as Alex Hoover wisely watches it bounce, and this will be good starting field position here for the DePauw offense.
Something we saw even last night in the high school game that we covered. Too many times kickers are kicking the ball out of bounds and not allowing your defense to even start on the proper footing.
So 1st and 10 for DePauw from the 35-yard line under the direction of sophomore quarterback Scott Valentine, 6 feet tall, from Crown Point, Indiana. He has been great to start the year. 50 of 68 for 631 yards. That is a 74% completion percentage.
Doing a nice job. The sophomore already has a leg up on the guy that was at the controls a season ago, and Nate McCahill doing a nice job at the quarterback position.
Whitehead, handoff. Big hole over the right side. Nice cutback move. Leans out across the 40. Holding on was Dominic Simpson, but Whitehead averaging about 5 yards per carry. That's a good first play for DePauw.
On the season, Whitehead only at about 119 yards on 25 carries. A guy that really didn't see that much action just a week ago. Had a really good first week of the season. So I know with the type of mentality that the Tigers have, want to get him involved early.
2nd down and 4. Simpson, one of the captains for Kenyon, making his presence known here early. Keep your eyes on Robbie Ballantyne, 84 in black at the bottom of your screen, the conference athlete of the week this week. Play action. Younger brother Scott whips it out to the left side. Hauled in by Palmer Samuels, the backup tight end, and look at the former Delta Eagle flying into Kenyon territory. They'll get him into the red zone right on the dot at the 20-yard line. Hello, Palmer Samuels.
And I quote, he's a very committed football player for us, someone that Coach Dietz and his staff are really excited about. Give them a lot of feel of Gabe Quigley from a year ago, the 2nd leading receiver just a season ago from the tight end position. Look for Palmer Samuels to do a lot of damage for the Tigers this season.
That's a 39-yard catch and run from the backup tight end, the 6'3 junior from Muncie. 1st and 10 from the 19. So give him an extra yard on that catch. Ballantyne looking for his brother. It was tapped on the way there by the Kenyon defense. Looked like it was Sam Finnerty, the starting linebacker from Brooklyn. And it'll be 2nd down and 10.
You can tell by the way Ballantyne tried to fit that ball in there with a little bit extra force that ball was just a bit tad too late, and that allowed the defense to, one, get a hand up, and then obviously the secondary coverage to key in on the football and rally to it.
Ballantyne in the pistol with Whitehead behind him. 2nd down and 10 as DePauw tries to answer the opening drive touchdown for Kenyon. Whitehead gets the carry. Stops. Cuts back, and he's going to go nowhere fast. Gets walled up quick. Matthew Ehrenreich, the junior out of Palmetto Bay, Florida, one of the first Owls to get to him. And here's the first 3rd down of the day for the DePauw offense.
So many times in the run game, you want to make the box available for your blockers to take care of, and then guys on the perimeter, you want them to be tacklers because usually those guys aren't your best tacklers, but Jason Gardner defies all of those odds, does a nice job coming up being physical, and gets Whitehead down to the ground.
On the year, DePauw converting at 52% when it comes to 3rd down. The 3rd down back, Carson Johnson in. It's a 3rd and 10 from the Kenyon 19. Scott Ballantyne looking all day to throw. Now it breaks down, and he's going to be sacked back at the 30, but a couple of flags get thrown in. Michael Kerr right now has his first sack of the season, but let's see what all the laundry's about.
Maybe a face mask Kerr got as he was getting Ballantyne down on the sack.
Say both referee Ronald Swindell and umpire Josh Schneideroff saw it. A long discussion right now from the folks in the black and white stripes. I think we finally got a resolution. And the personal foul hurts Kenyon, and it's going to be an automatic first down for the DePauw offense. That is going to move him, Jared, inside the 10, so a goal-to-go spot here for the Tiger offense. Let's get another look here. It might have been that face mask you were talking about earlier.
And when you go back to game one that Kenyon had against Bluffton, it was actually with 15 seconds left to go in the game, a roughing the passer that actually put them out of reach to go win that football game. Bluffton goes on to score. Kenyon ultimately loses. So it's those fine details, paying attention, staying locked in. Even though you had a positive play, coverage was linked to the upfront pressure, but you weren't able to actually celebrate the sack because of those small, minor details that all go on in between the ears when you commit those mental errors.
Goal to go from the 9. DePauw trying to answer the opening touchdown by Kenyon. Handoff to Carson Johnson, and he jitterbugs his way through the entire Owls defense for 6.
DePauw doing a nice job showing that no matter how they get attacked, whether they start on offense or their defense goes out first, they have the firepower offensively to then come back and respond emphatically. I know we talked about Caden Whitehead a lot, but what that guy Carson Johnson can do out of the backfield is nothing to look over. A nice job by him finding the hole and then showing the explosion to burst past the goal line for the touchdown.
Matthew Berry on to add the extra point. And the kick is up and through, as he is now 10 of 11 on extra point tries here this season. So DePauw goes down the field 5 plays, Jared, and they're able to answer with a touchdown of their own. We're tied here at 7 with about 5.5 to go in the first.
When you do the comparison between the two, 13 plays compared to 5 plays, one is old school football smash mouth. You really kill what you eat, or you really eat what you kill. And then you have the other side that's a little bit more glitz and glamour and flashy. But I will say something that I saw just with that roughing the passer and that face mask at the end of the sack for Kerr, for Kenyon, that's something that Coach Dees talked about with his sophomore quarterback. Hey, sometimes the defense has us. Just throw the football away. So instead of taking a sack there, that's a play that I know he and Coach Espinosa, offensive coordinator, are going to talk to him about, because you got bailed out with the face mask call. But next time, we don't want to even get into a negative situation with taking the sack, but instead throw the football away, live to see another down.
First rushing touchdown of the season for the junior from Indianapolis from Cathedral High School.
There you go. Got a chance to play with his brother Jack Gomez at Cathedral, phenomenal athlete, played a little basketball as well, so the Gomez family and their athletic roots run super deep.
So here's Buddy, 5'11" senior. Would you have done the one sleeve on your leg back in the day like Buddy, or was that a kicking thing probably?
No, I think it was more so the spat of the miscolored spat that didn't go with the jersey.
Ooh, big time tackle on the kickoff return. Trying to get loose was Dominic Simpson, but this might be at an extra yardage here for Kenyon after the tackle up high by DePauw defensively, with Donovan Baker on the stop. It's been a busy opening quarter for Ronald Swindell and crew.
That's a personal foul against the Tigers. That's a 15-yard penalty.
So a face mask against DePauw puts Kenyon in pretty good starting position, particularly when they're starting at their 35 last drive. Remember, Jared, they're at their 13.
It's impressive when you can start in the minus territory and still drive the length of the field and punch it in for 6. Let's see what they do on this second drive.
Dean 7 of 9 on the opening drive for 80 yards. Play action. Little screen out the side, and a big hit coming up and dropping Brendan Comerford in the open field for DePauw was Aaron Wagner. But he comes off with that right arm a little immobilized after a big stick.
Aaron Wagner, that field corner, getting a lot of action to start the game with just the bubbles and the now routes that they're running on the perimeter. Hopefully he's okay, holding that shoulder a bit loosely as he ran off after the big hit.
Did give a thumbs up as he was coming off to the sideline. They hope to see Wagner back out there, senior out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Second drive of the game for Kenyon. They went 13 plays, 87 yards for that touchdown drive to open the game up. Will Domino, the tight end, set to the right. Here's a give to Jordan Benjamin. He can really get outside, and now he's in the open field, a stiff arm, and he is wrestled out of bounds aggressively by Joey Fico. But Benjamin at just 5'8", he runs pretty hard for a short guy.
It's simple for this Owls team. They don't tell him too much. They just want to get him out in space and showcase the ability to make people miss and be dynamic when he gets out on the perimeter, doing a little bit of his own song and dance there, making a few guys have to pursue him longer than I'm sure they would have liked. And then the physical finish and tackle by the DePauw defense at the end. That's what football's all about right there.
Double tight ends, Domino and Bernier for Kenyon. Third down and 4 from their own 41. Quick pass, and turning and making a pirouetting catch is Bernier. And the tight end from Pittsburgh makes his second grab of the year, but another big third down pickup here for the Kenyon offense.
All this offense is doing is taking advantage of all of the space that the DePauw defense is giving them. It's hitches, it's now routes, it's bubbles, it's just flicking it out, advantage throws, as they say, taking it out to where the open space is, allowing your playmakers to make plays.
Third down pickup of the day for Kenyon. They are perfect 3 of 3. 4 wide in the pattern here for the Owls. So we get almost 3 minutes left to go here in the first. Play action, throws it behind his intended man in Carlquist. Now is another good look there as the Kenyon wide receivers have found some open spots here in the defense.
Just not able to connect there. Ryan Dean trying to find his receivers down the field. That's something that with time you continue to forge. Even in losses, there's something to take away from this. So just getting on time with your quarterback, building that chemistry, something that this offense will continue to do as they go throughout this game and this season.
Just the 4th incompletion for Dean, 9 of 13 through the air for 86 yards. You're 5 plays in, upcoming the second drive. Pump fakes. Now he's getting pressure from on. Has to throw this one away. Oh, and a diving catch is made on the sideline where his feet in by Carlquist, and they were. An offensive lineman is down behind the play. That's left tackle Trey Rutherford for Kenyon, but a heck of a throw into Carlquist to get that close to a first down marker.
Once again, it's so impressive with pressure screaming down your back. That was Vincent Neal providing the pressure. Dean is still able to find Carlquist down the field and delivers a dot on the sideline.
It'll be third down and short as they take a look at the injured Kenyon offensive lineman. It'll be third down and 2 for Kenyon from the DePauw 45. As Trey Rutherford, starting left tackle, 6'5", out of Westerville, Ohio. Getting looked at by the sports medicine staff for Kenyon, but get a look at that Owl offense. And as we mentioned, held to just 6 points last week. They've only scored 23 through the first 2 games of the year, but they are looking much different here today than they did in those first 2 weeks.
They've responded boldly. One thing that Coach Good talked about after their week 1 loss against Bluffton, they had a great week of practice going into that game against University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire, but you don't get the results that you want. And the reason that he said he feels good about where they are is because their culture is being tested right now, something we talked about at the start of the broadcast. And when that culture is tested, you want times like today where you see how your team responds to a lot of adversity, which is starting the season 0-2, and so far I think they've passed that test.
Jack Langston, freshman from Charlotte, the new left tackle in here for Kenyon. Third down and 2 for the Owls. They are perfect 3 of 3 on third down of the day, and they are going to be 3 of 4 in and out of the hands of Comerford, maybe thrown a little bit behind him after the play action from Dean.
You get too excited at times. You see all of the green grass that's in front of you. Comerford had a lot to take advantage of. Poor angle by the boundary safety from DePauw. He could have still been running, but still you have to make sure, hey, before you get to the green grass, secure the football first. And that's putting the ball on the right target and then the receiver catching it and looking it in.
First punt of the day for Tyler Bell, averaging just about 37 yards per punt this year. Carson Johnson back to receive the punt here for the Tigers. And Johnson lets that bounce at the 10, and a heck of a punt there for Bell, able to bounce that out at the 3-yard line. So it'll be 97 yards to go for DePauw as they look to take the lead on drive number 2.
Anytime you start that backed up, the first point of emphasis is just getting that first down, because that gives you the ability to potentially flip the field if you're not able to go down and score and get any type of points.
Home opener today for the Tigers. They have got to start it 1st and 10 from their own 3. Last drive, the highlight play was the Samuels 40-yard catch and run to really get the 14th ranked Tiger offense in scoring position. Here they have to start 97 yards away from pay dirt. Whitehead the back, along with the quarterback Scott Ballantyne. Has not found his brother Robbie yet, who broke the single game record for receiving yards last week against center with 244 through the air. Give to Whitehead, cuts it back across the middle, able to get a little bit of breathing space as he comes across the 5-yard line. Andrew Cooney, one of a couple of different Owls in there on the stop.
Just an outside zone scheme. I could tell by the departure of the back wanting to exploit the outside of the tackle box first and then find the open cutback lanes based off of the blocks that you're getting from your offensive line. Whitehead showing some patience before he was able to probe and get into the teeth of the defense.
Whitehead remains the back. A 5-man front for Kenyon. They bring that pressure. Quick throw, and it's caught by Lukowski. Spinning out of a tackle, a stiff arm, trying to fight his way forward. Holding on and tripping him up was Aiden Jones. But the senior from Carmel, Indiana, Leighton Lukowski, with his first grab today.
That was a guy that just a season ago stepped in nicely for the injured Jalen Smith that faced a season-ending injury. Lukowski did a nice job in his time last year, actually was able to earn second-team all-conference, and this year more of a steady contributor at that receiver position.
That'll move the chains on the first grab of the day for Lukowski. Final 80 seconds here, quarter number 1. Play action pass off the hands of Samuels as they got the big tight end out in space once again, this time though he couldn't haul it in.
Just a rush throw, a little bit high and outside for Samuels to actually come down with. It's just that throwing motion for Ballantyne. If he takes his time and delivers it and gets his feet set, he's pretty accurate and precise. But when he rushes it, sometimes those footballs get away from him.
In our conversation this week with Brett Dietz, he was really complimentary of Ballantyne, saying he's a real heady player and said he's really farther ahead than most of the quarterbacks they've had here when they were sophomores, but you still have kind of some sophomore flare-ups a little bit with that inexperienced first year playing for 12 in black. Jet sweep, trying to come around the edge. Looking for that corner was Frankie Ricciardi. And Ricciardi able to get a couple out to the 20. But losing the helmet was Nathan Correa, and he'll exit for one play.
Rick, to put a bow on that point that you made from Brett Dietz, he talked about when Ballantyne was a younger quarterback, he would always look to his first receiver, getting in some games last year in blowout situations. He would look to one receiver, and then he would instantly take off and start running. But seeing the growth in his sophomore quarterback, getting through multiple progressions in his route concepts, really showed the growth that he's had at that position.
3rd and 4, they go to Samuels, and his 2 catches have been important today. This one moves and sticks out to the 35, and we'll see how quick DePauw wants to go with time dwindling in the first.
It's the lost art of getting the tight end involved in your offense. It's the Swiss Army knife that you can take advantage of. So many times coverages are only paying attention to the receivers, and they lose track of guys like Palmer Samuels, who have now made the Owls pay in back-to-back possessions.
12-yard grab for Samuels. He came in with just 4 catches on the day for 19 yards. He blew past that with that 40-yard catch on the first. Down the seam, caught by Ricciardi, and now he's got some room to work in Kenyon territory, looking for more as he stiff arms off of Aiden Jones. Finally tackled from behind by a trailing Owl player, but a big catch and run for Ricciardi.
What I love about this play is you can't see it in the replay, but it was Ballantyne feeding the ball to Caden Whitehead on just a bit of a token run fake to get the defense to come up a little bit. You can see the reaction from the secondary that allowed Ricciardi to get into the open seams and take advantage for an explosive.
43 yards on the scamper for Ricciardi. That takes us to the end of the first quarter. DePauw driving, trying to move to 3-0 on the year. Here are the home openers. We're tied at 7 on the ISC Sports Network.
DePauw! Never quit! DePauw! Never quit! DePauw! Never quit!
Monon is pretty much the biggest game in D3.
And we always want to keep that bell, especially for the campus.
It comes down to tradition and brotherhood, playing for the guys that are to your left and to your right.
The past history that we've had, over 100 years of other men that have played.
Let's go, Tigers! Let's go! Ah!
Let's go. Put up 6. Let's go.
Let's go!
Before I was on campus, I was very nervous. I gotta make friends, and my teacher's gonna be nice. But now that I'm here, all my fears have washed away, and I'm more excited to learn than I have been in a while.
And that's one of the things I think that DePauw does incredibly well. It provides an opportunity for individuals to find their place in the world, and that's something that the university provides everyone who comes here.
It's never the last time you're at DePauw. You'll always be back, and I know that I'm coming back for these people and these places and these memories that I have.
7-7 after 1. This will be the 7th play of the drive for DePauw, their second drive of the ball game. Home opener here against the Owls of Kenyon. Scott Ballantyne, 4 of 6 through the air. Gives the handoff to Whitehead, who powers his way up the field, keeps those legs moving, and the whistle blows right after he gets thrown back by Andrew Cooney and others. Michael Kerr in there too, as Whitehead trying to break it open there on the second to get to that second level.
Today just going to start a historical track for Whitehead coming into today's game and matchup against Kenyon. Only 250 yards before he hits that 2,000 career rushing mark. A formidable feat for the Park Tudor product out of Indianapolis, someone that has been so pivotal in all their success the last couple of seasons.
No gain. It'll be 2nd and 10. Today Whitehead 4 carries for 9 yards. To the left of Ballantyne on the fake, coming back, and there's the Ballantyne connection. Robbie with his first catch, looking for more. He gets stopped and spun down to the 20 by Dominic Simpson. He's trying to get Robbie Ballantyne going after going for 15 and 244 last week.
The second-team All-American from last season can get it going in a quick and in a hurry. That's the brother-to-brother connection. That's going to be alive and well, as it already has been this season for the entirety of this 25 campaign.
Tackle made by Jason Gardner as the older Ballantyne looked to spin away. And here's a 3rd down and 5 for the DePauw offense. They are 1 for 1 on the money down today. Ballantyne with a straight drop, looking, end zone, trying to find his man, and Ricciardi overthrew him. In coverage was Jackson Bellin, but there's a couple flags in that defensive secondary.
And that's going to go against Jason Gardner, the boundary corner, against Leighton Lukowski. He got a bit too much hold of the jersey of Lukowski, and the official saw it. Once it goes past a certain threshold, that 5-yard line.
Pass was intended for Frankie Ricciardi.
Hold it! Number 10 on the defense. 10 yards from the previous spot. 1st down.
Well, they say it was on number 10, Comerford, but he plays on the offensive side of the ball. I think it might have been Dominic Simpson 0 with the hold there. Either way, it's a free 1st down here for DePauw. They're back in a goal-to-go situation trying to look for the lead.
I think they just had the wrong number. It wasn't even the intended target on that play. It was definitely Jason Gardner. It was as he went across the middle, that was Lukowski, that he continued to hold him longer than is allowed.
Looks like we might have a question on exactly where the ball should be placed. The line of scrimmage was back at the 20. So a 10-yard mark-off would put this one at the Kenyon 10 and be goal to go. You can see Mark Ortiz, the center for DePauw, signaling back to his sideline. Trying to get a communication there. Pistol formation with Whitehead, the deep man. Ballantyne looking. Pressure breaks down. Ball knocked free. Now still loose and picked up by Kenyon as Ballantyne had it knocked out of his hands. Tanner Smith The sophomore defensive end able to fall on it, and a costly giveaway there for the DePauw offense.
That was Matthew Ehrenreich right here at the very end. Don't just get the quarterback down with a sack. Go for the football. And there he is, Tanner Smith with the fumble recovery. A very productive defensive lineman for this bunch in the Owls. As a sophomore, leads the team with 2.5 sacks, and he can add a fumble recovery to his statistics for this season.
Second one of the year for Smith, as Ehrenreich gets his first forced fumble, and now the Kenyon offense back on the field. They've had drives of 13 and 7 plays, one ending in a touchdown, one ending in a punt, but a quick change here early on in this second quarter. We'll see if Kenyon can take advantage. They start 1st and 10 from their own 19. Dean rolls out, sets his feet, going for it all down the sideline, and he throws his man into his own bench. That was Charlie Taylor. 2 Tigers there in coverage with Zach Reese and Aaron Wagner. Good to see 23 in black back out there after taken out for a play.
Rick, if you remember what I said after the Owls scored on their first offensive possession, how are they going to react to when the McElwain defensive coordinator from DePauw adjust to what they've been doing so far? The offense has got a bit stagnant, although having a little bit of success on that last drive, but look for them to find different ways to attack as they put the quarterback on the move and some of the things they can do in the run game.
Play action again. Wobbly pass, but caught. Low hit as Charlie Taylor gets it right near the line to gain. I think he does get it right on the dot. Wagner came up with that low tackle, but able to hold on to it was Taylor.
It's the RPO action. Find where your receiver is, read your run read. If he commits to the box for the run field, then you throw it over their head for the first down to Charlie Taylor once again.
Holt Hildebrand, on the tackle. Senior safety out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. 2 backs in the backfield. And the give around the end to Benjamin, trying to get into the open space. Runs into the arms of Nathan Creed, the backup outside linebacker. But another positive gain here for Jordan Benjamin's been able to get about 2 or 3 yards a tote.
Doing a nice job getting some edge blocking right there from offensive linemen and tight ends. Exploiting the right off tackle side of that defense against DePauw. Doing a nice job on this offensive drive so far. Didn't connect on first down, but then on second down, delivered a rope to Charlie Taylor. Really got the juices flowing for the offense, and now it seems like they're in rhythm on this drive.
You saw Creed there with that slight slip, able to get back to his feet and able to wrap up the speedy Benjamin. Another fake and diving back to make the catch once again, Brendan Comerford. That is Comerford's 5th grab of the day to lead all players, and another first down pitch and catch with Ryan Dean, the quarterback.
And the delivery comes between multiple DePauw defenders. So the utmost confidence Ryan Dean has in his receivers and Comerford specifically to deliver that football, understanding that his guy was going to come away with it no matter how many Tigers were in the area.
Dean, 12 of 17 here in the first half for 112 yards, 5 catches for Comerford for 44. That's the 8th first down of the day for the Kenyon offense. Play fake, little screen out to the outside. Comerford, he gets upended shy of the 45. Guess who? Aaron Wagner again.
This is an offense that a week ago against the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire, they only had 60 yards passing as an offense. And Ryan Dean was not one of them that got all of those 60 yards, actually only had 29. So to have the utmost confidence in your quarterback and in your offense to then go on the road against a team that's won the conference for the last 4 straight years and throw the ball all over the yard is impressive.
A 1-yard pickup. Ballantyne had the ball knocked out of his hands as he was looking to pass. First turnover of the day credited to the Kenyon defense. Out route. They're holding it in again. Comerford had the wise, sage upperclassman to look to see where the sticks were, and it might be just a yard short as he crosses midfield to the 49.
Defensive coordinator Ryan McElwain, I've said his name a few times to start this broadcast. He's going to have to make a decision at what depth are they going to play on the perimeter. Right now, just giving too much cushion, allowing your defensive front to do work, but right now they're not affecting Ryan Dean to the point that he can actually feel uncomfortable getting it to his targets, because right now the Owls are rolling.
3rd and 1, I should say. 3 of 4 are the Owls on 3rd down today. Luca Rumberg, the 6'4 tight end, goes in motion. Benjamin trying to pick it up on the ground, and he is going to lose yardage back to the 50. Looks like they'll give him forward progress back to the line of scrimmage. Owen Roselle, one of a couple of Tigers that are going to make it 4th and short.
A lot of football played for Owen Roselle, tied with the team lead at 2 pass deflections in coverage, but that time showing the physicality, rumbling downhill to lay the boom.
Kenyon's going to go for it, 4th and 1. They're just 1 for 6 on 4th down this season. So plenty of time left on the play clock at 15 seconds. Now Dean backs up. In the deep shotgun, he's just going to pooch this away. Nobody back to return for DePauw, so takes a couple Kenyon rolls as Carlquist watches it die at around the 18-yard line. So Kenyon unable to come away with points. Good job there by the DePauw defense to staying tough after the giveaway.
That's a nice job standing strong even after your offense turned the football over. Your job is not to worry about what the offense did. Your job is to get as many stops as you can throughout the course of the game. That was a big one for the DePauw Tigers.
I'd like to thank you so much for tuning in to today's home opener broadcast of DePauw University football here on the ISC Sports Network. We'll have the other 3 home games as well, along with the Monon Bell Classic against Wabash to wrap up the 2025 regular season. So here comes Scott Ballantyne. Had not thrown an interception yet this season, and a rare fumble. That was actually the first fumble loss by the DePauw offense. Wings it out towards the far side. Lukowski able to catch that teardrop, and then kind of ran out of room as he was waiting for it to come down his mitts. Trey Blazevich, one of many Owls in there on the stop.
I think even the defense for the Owls were shocked at how high that football airmailed as it was going to Lukowski. Nonetheless, Lukowski doing a nice job tracking the football in the air, coming down with it, saving his quarterback some trouble with an errant pass. It bouncing off of someone, but comes down with it and retains possession.
And a whole bunch of movement near the line of scrimmage. Kenyon almost jumped off sides, but they got back out of the neutral zone, it looked like, before making contact with anyone on the DePauw offensive line, but the Tigers might have moved a little prematurely.
The defensive line can jump forward just as long as they don't go into the neutral zone and warrant a reaction from the offensive player. If they don't jump into that neutral zone, they can jump back.
Offsides on the defense. 5 yards from the previous spot. Repeat 2nd down.
So it looks like the offensive line had that reaction in enough time there. You've seen sometimes where guys will jump in the neutral zone, and then there's a delayed reaction. Normally, you're the pro officer. Normally, you get up, you start pointing at the defense, right? Like, no, that was on him.
That's the only thing that I was going to say. You would like to see from that offensive line reach out and touch the guy if you felt like he came into that neutral zone, because it just makes the call easier for the official. But when it looks like you jumped yourself simultaneous with the defensive line getting back, that's when it becomes a bit fuzzy.
Penalty, fresh set of downs here for DePauw. At their own 29, Carson Johnson slips through the defense out in the open field and gets shoved out of bounds at the 45 by Dominic Simpson. But Carson Johnson, lightning in the bottle, has been real electric today on his first couple touches.
He's an explosive play waiting to happen, is what Brett Dietz said about Carson Johnson. It's only a matter of time before more people know who Carson Johnson is, because of his ability to turn what is or should be a 2-yard gain into a house call.
15 yards on the romp for Carson Johnson. 3 carries today for him. That's the longest rush of the day so far for the DePauw offense. 7.5 remaining here in the first half. DePauw will get the ball to start quarter or half number 2 after winning the toss and electing to kick. Play action to Johnson. Swing it out. Ballantyne to Ballantyne. Robbie with a sidestep move into Owl territory. Jackson Bellin spins him down, but that'll be close to a first down. It'll be a gain of 8.
You don't get 1,200 receiving yards and 20 touchdowns in a season without having some type of explosion to your game. Ballantyne doing a nice job getting in and out of his break, making some guys miss, and then almost getting out of those tackle attempts by the Owls and making a big play happen.
Second catch of the day for Ballantyne. That one goes for 8, and here's 2nd down and short. With Carson Johnson, the backup running back, remaining in the game next to Scott Ballantyne. Motion man Ricciardi. And And a false start here against DePauw, it looks like.
False start, number 68 on the offense. 5 yards from the previous spot. Repeat second down.
So that goes against Nick Ruiz, the sophomore left tackle.
Then you can see him get a bit testy with the defensive front from Kenyon as they jumped offside, as he false started, and they then triggered their reaction as defensive linemen and gave him a little bit of a punch to the chest.
The old game within the game between
the
the two lines on the front, right? So back to the 47. And here's Johnson, big hole, trying to counter his way up the middle, and holding on to those legs was Aiden Jones. The freshman corner from Austin, Texas, made some big-time plays for the Owls.
Doing a nice job. You felt as Johnson began to cut that ball back, there was some green grass that he can go and take advantage of. But Jones doing a nice job filling the gap with physicality, wrapping up, which is the key on those tackle attempts. It's not just about the physical contact, but it's actually about finishing the tackle, getting him all the way down.
DePauw still 1 for 1 on third down tries today. This is their first third down attempt here of this drive as they try to take the lead on their first drive of the second quarter. Ballantyne drops back to throw. Nice block to get him some extra time to throw, and he'll overmail Lukowski. But Whitehead got the big block there to give a little more time to his quarterback.
Playing that running back position, it's more than just running the football, but being a blocker in protection. You hear, oh, he's a third down back. Usually that means he can stay on in protection and potentially be a receiver. If you can't do that, it's hard for you to find a home in a lot of offenses.
First punt of the day for Buddy Gomez, the senior from Indianapolis. He's had an impressive first 2 weeks, averaging almost 46 yards per boot. He's had a long of 69 on the year and has had 2 inside the 20. Tyler Gladden is the deep man here for Kenyon. Owls look to be bringing pressure. They do. And Gomez, a short one, towards the Kenyon sideline. Takes it to DePauw bounce, and it rolls out of bounds at the 22-yard line. So a 30-yard punt there for Gomez, and Kenyon gets it back. Still tied at 7 here with 5 and change remaining here in quarter 2.
I'm just looking at what Ryan Dean has done so far. The freshman is 14 of 19, 121 passing yards, and a touchdown pass. For the season, 25 of 49, 312 yards, something that you already talked about at the start of the broadcast. So he's creeping up on a little under a third of that production before this game started in this first half alone. A lot of trust being placed into the hands of the freshman quarterback for the Owls.
Luca Rumberg, tight end in the backfield just to the right of Dean. Deep man is the running back, Jordan Benjamin. Takes the handoff, trying to go east and west, and he's going to lose yardage on that carry. Vincent Neal, one of the first ones to come through on the defensive line for the Tigers.
That's the Carmel product doing a nice job. I talked about the junior getting some pressure on Ryan Dean earlier in the game. This time gets his name called with an actual tackle for loss behind that line of scrimmage.
First full one of those for the year for the junior. As both he and Siebel have trying to wreak havoc up front here today, along with Luke Nolan, the backup tight end. 3 Indy products on the front line for DePauw. Dean on the snap. Pressure comes. He's going to just get it away in time. Underthrown, and oh my gosh, coming back to get it is the tight end Rumberg. Swam over an angry Jaden Miller, who was really looking for an offensive pass interference there.
All of Rumberg's stats came in the first game against Bluffton, and you see why he was the leading receiver in that first game of the season. The ball tracking ability, the ball is a jump one, so then go help your quarterback, although I do see him step out of bounds, which is illegal touching. If you step out of bounds, you cannot be the first one to touch the football, but nonetheless, if the call stands, that is a heck of an adjustment by Rumberg on the sideline.
That's why those offensive players wear the white cleats, right, to help blend in with the sideline a little bit more. Benjamin over the left side gets banged down by Miller and Nehemiah Dow.
Truthfully, that's part of what happens when you go on the road sometimes. Not every call is going to go your way, but when you come into a football game and you play the right way and you're on the attack, sometimes things fall into your fortune. You don't question it. You roll with the punches. You hurry up and get set, get to the next play, and continue to roll.
And if you're DePauw, that's got to be a heartbreaker because, A, you thought there had been offensive pass interference, and B, Brumberg had not just one but both feet out of bounds at one point, fighting for position with Miller. Can the Owls capitalize on the big gift there on the Rumberg catch? Out, Tigers rush 4. Out, hauled in Tyler Gladden. First catch of the day for 5 and White, and he's the 6th different receiver to catch a pass today for the Owls. 1st and 10.
Just the coverage. Dean is not affected by anything up front with pressure simply because he's getting the football out so quickly. Why is he getting the football out so quickly? Just watch the off coverage by this defensive secondary, essentially just giving them these easy free access throws all the way down the field.
A gain of 10 here in a fast-moving first half from Greencastle. No hands in the turf here for DePauw. They rush 3. Initially, it looked to me initially like it was Benjamin. It was actually Julius Thompson, the backup running back. First time we've seen him out there, he just could not get to the edge at all.
But there wasn't any confusion about who made the play in the backfield. That was Dominique Siebel. Once again, 5.5 TFLs, tackles for loss. Coming into this one, adds another one to that notch. Avoids the offensive lineman with the quick swim, gets into the backfield, and then able to get the ball carrier down.
Do you want to say where he went to high school? Do you want me to?
I think it's already understood at this point.
I teased it enough. That's good. I teased it enough. I'm glad that people are catching on. Quick hit and a bigger time smack from Owen Roselle. The inside linebacker comes up and blows up that play, and that's going to keep Kenyon behind the sticks. It'll be 3rd down and long. Big time hit from the senior.
This defense is starting to feed off the crowd a little bit despite them driving. That is the Kenyon Owls. Let's continue to be physical, get the crowd back into this game. And now with a 3rd and long to go, let's dial up some pressure. Let's all be locked in and get off this field.
Damian Shell, the intended man, freshman running back who lines up still in the slot at the top of your screen. Wide man is Gladden, Aiden Key. Some fresh faces out there in the receiving corps here for Kenyon on this 3rd down and 14 with 2:11 remaining before halftime. Dean on a sprint out. Throws across his body. He'll be short of the first down. Caught at the 40 by what looked to be Tyler Gladden. And it was Gladden who got it, and Wagner gets another stop here for DePauw defensively. It's 4th down.
Feels like no man's land at this point in the field. Not quite short enough to potentially go for that field goal, but not backed up enough to feel gun shy away from putting your defense back on the field at that part of the real estate that we have here on the Tiger Field. So I'm interested to see what Coach Good does with Blake Cottrell, the offensive coordinator, and how they attack this 4th down situation.
Time out on the field. We'll take it with them. 7-7. We've reached the 2-minute timeout here from Blackstock Stadium. You're watching DePauw Tiger football on the ISC Sports Network.
Our students have a gold standard academic experience driven by faculty who know and care about each one of them.
We're fostering new ways of seeing and thinking, equipping students with a creative method that can be applied liberally to challenges in society, science, business, technology, and beyond.
The fact that a student might do a co-curricular program like Management Fellows whilst pursuing a major in the creative school whilst doing a minor in liberal arts is something you just wouldn't find at another institution.
I felt like I became a totally different person at DePauw.
DePauw was really one of the first places that I had an opportunity to explore the arts, the sciences, economics.
DePauw gave me that chance to not only be a leader, but to teach leadership skills to other people.
Here's 4th down and 6 from the 40. First time that Kenyon's gone for it on 4th down today. Remember, they're just 1 for 6. Last time in this situation, Dean bluffed, then a pooch punt. Coming out of the 2-minute timeout, and he'll pooch punt it again, and a nice pressure up the middle from Luke Nolan. And that thing's going to die and go into the end zone, almost covered up by Aiden Key. But now our 2 officials are coming in and are saying maybe did he touch it down at the 1? It didn't look like he had any control over it. His momentum definitely carried him a couple of yards into the end zone, and this is a big call here with 1:51 remaining in the first half.
But as long as the ball is downed in the field of play, it can then travel into the end zone. But if it travels into the end zone and then it's downed in the end zone, that's when it becomes a touchback.
So it looks like it will be a touchback. Great effort there from Key trying to get behind the ball, but You can see kind of his toes were on the goal line there right when he made contact with it. It was a close one.
It's a bang-bang play right there. But I think you're right, Rick. That left toe might have been on that end zone line, which would forfeit him downing it at the 1 and then resulting in a touchback.
So 1st and 10 for the Tigers as Key, the freshman wideout, almost came up with a humongous play there on another pooch punt here from Dean. Ballantyne on 1st and 10 from his 20. Out route caught and out of bounds by Ricciardi.
Feels like a big drive for the DePauw offense, considering that you had opportunities to go score. You actually turned the football over, and then the Owls got a stop. And now here you are in your next offensive possession. 2-minute drill, sort of, as you're going into halftime. I know Coach Dietz would love to see his group get another score before this one goes to the break.
Each team with all 3 timeouts left. Quick hitter. Ballantyne to Ballantyne. Scott to Robbie. And the older brother steps out of bounds, moves the chains to the 35.
It's really a concept and idea that always makes me scratch my head in this type of scenario in the game, where your defensive secondary just plays off coverage and allows the offense to dink and dunk. You get out of bounds all the way down into the under the 20-yard line, and then you decide to start playing defense. And at that time, it's already too late.
Running back is Whitehead. 4 wide for Ballantyne. They might be changing the play here with about 15 on the play clock. Both teams scored on their first drives of the game. They have not scored since. To the far side of the field, this is Lukowski with another grab. He's shoved out of bounds by Bellin and Correa. They'll be close to another first down here, but again, that off coverage is just taking candy from a baby here for DePauw offensively.
That's exactly right. You might as well just escort him out of bounds and stop the clock yourself if you're just going to allow it all to happen in front of you. And I understand what the thinking behind it is. Keep everything in front of you. Don't allow them to go deep for the long, explosive play. But sometimes it's the death by 1,000 cuts that gets you.
3 plays have taken just 11 seconds off the clock. Ballantyne hit as he throws, going up the sideline, and just out of bounds was big brother Robbie Ballantyne. Heck of a ball between 2 defenders there from younger brother Scott.
Doing a nice job just standing as Trey Blazevich comes down from California. That is, the linebacker makes a booming hit on Ballantyne, and Ballantyne's actually able to still deliver the ball downfield. It's just a little too wide for brother to come down with it.
Andrew Pullman, the backup safety, was in coverage right there. And Ballantyne caught that on the end of the ball. This time caught by Lukowski, and that'll be good enough for a first down into Owl territory at the 49. That's a gain of 8 on 3rd down and 3.
Just taking whatever the defense is giving you so far, looking at Lukowski, looking at brother out on the perimeter, just easy gains, while you still only have even wasted 30 seconds off of this game clock.
And still all 3 timeouts in your back pocket if you need them. And remember, DePauw gets the ball to start that second half after winning the opening toss and electing to kick. Empty set for Ballantyne. Kenyon rushes 4 on 1st and 10. Ballantyne up, pressure comes from behind, and he's going to get sacked. Michael Kerr with his first sack of the season. He got the initial pressure and kept those legs churning.
Michael Kerr is having a phenomenal game. Got a sack earlier in the game that was negated with the face mask call. And then on this sack, a play that almost looked like it was out of a video game. It didn't even look real. Just watch him flatline the offensive lineman and then chase down Ballantyne for his real first sack of the game. Kerr doing a nice job for the Owls at a critical moment in the game in this 2-minute drill.
Matthew Ehrenreich in there as well. We'll keep it here with DePauw taking their first time out of the day. The sack drops the Tigers back to their own 46-yard line. That's a loss of 5. So it'll be 2nd and 15. 7th play of the drive. Again, both teams scored their first possessions of the game, and we have had 4 combined punts and then that forced fumble by the aforementioned Ehrenreich when it looked like DePauw was going to go punch it in to start the second quarter, trying to get some points here to end the half.
And that's those drives that you look back to when you're in that scoring position, something that we already said is a point of emphasis for this offense that you want back, because protecting the football is the most important thing no matter who the opponent is. So when you don't take advantage of that and the game is going how it's already been going thus far, you just like to see your team capitalize on more of those opportunities.
Second down and long here for DePauw after the sack. Kenyon again rushes 3, drops 8. A bullet from Ballantyne. Tried to find his older brother Robbie. Took a shot in the process, and that laser beam was too high. And now if you're DePauw, you got to be a little bit worried with seeing how much time's left on the clock and with Kenyon with all 3 of their timeouts.
That's Michael Kerr again. The St. Edward product out of Cleveland, Ohio, has been a menace for this defensive front thus far, getting to the quarterback time and time again, not just on first and second down, but when it matters most, being a game changer from that defensive end position.
So here's 3rd down and 15. Again, after the sack on 1st and 10. Ballantyne looking at a 3-man front. Steps in, fires it out, far side, and broken up. Trying to go up and get it was Lukowski, and Jackson Bellin out of Fort Benning, Georgia, breaks it up, and that's going to force a DePauw punt.
If you remember, I talked about a pass from Ballantyne going to Lukowski on the sideline, and it felt like it took a whole business day to actually get to him. That time, Bellin doing a nice job, not allowing the receiver to come down with it, but being a football player and playing the football, breaking it up, forcing the 4th down.
I hate when things take a full business day to get to me.
It's always so inconvenient.
I need that expedited shipping overnight, that whole business day.
Right.
No, thank you. Another punt here for Buddy Gomez. Last one went just 30 yards, but here's a flag. And the question is, who moved first? Because there was a lot of movement from everybody and their brother. Headline judge Mario Tabor. So I'm sprinting over there trying to figure out. There's just a lot of pointing on the field between both sides. Here's another look, and it looks like Kenyon might have jumped first.
Offsides, defense, number 15. Jumping in the neutral zone caused the offense to react. 5 yards from the previous spot. Repeat 4th down.
So it'll just be a 5-yard mark off, and this puts it back at the original line of scrimmage after what was lost on that sack earlier in the drive by Kerr.
But that pointing act that you saw from Kenyon isn't just a Spider-Man meme. That is actually something that is coached. Just make it easy on the officials and give the illusion that it's on the other team, even if you are the culprit like Kenyon was on that offsides.
You can see how far back the Owls lined up for this booming punt from Gomez, but it'll go a couple yards deep. So Kenyon gets it back. 3 timeouts, Jared, with 1:02 on the clock. You're going to start your own 20. Thoughts here for the Owls? Is there maybe a little bit more sense of urgency knowing that they got to kick off here after halftime?
I think this is a part of the game where it's hanging in the balance a little bit because you have an opportunity to go be aggressive, something that you've already done thus far in this football game. Don't retract just because you're trying to play it safe. Continue with that aggressive track because I think there are benefits whether you score on this drive or not in the latter part of the game where you don't look back and say, oh, we took our foot off the gas. So look for this Kenyon offense to still be aggressive with just over a minute to go.
Dean came in today completing just 51% of his passes today, 17 of 23 for 163. That is 74%, and the score. Here, little out route caught by Carlquist. Turns, he's still in the field of play. Trying to rip it out of there was Nathan Creed. As DePauw trying to get their first takeaway today, and he'll get out to the 26 and go into the hurry up here with 50 seconds left are the Owls.
It's a learning lesson for Carlquist. If you're going to have to do all that dancing, just go ahead and go down to save us some precious seconds.
Low snap to Dean. Chased off the spot, runs through a would-be sack, lobs it up, and he wisely will live to fight another down. That stops the clock with 33 seconds left and still all 3 timeouts.
Very smart play, getting it out of bounds, not taking a risk. And now you get to this point where, yes, you said, okay, we were going to be aggressive. Now let's manage the clock a little bit and see what we can do to potentially get a first down and then prevent a chance from DePauw to return anything for any type of points.
Get DePauw with 2 timeouts. Kenyon with all 3. But a much different 3rd down and 4 here after the last couple of plays. No hands in the ground for DePauw defensively. The Tigers rush 3. Dean, pressure from the weak side, and that pass got batted on the way there. And they're going to say that it was a fumble, and it's picked up by Owen Roselle. And there's your first takeaway for the Tigers. They didn't signal that it was an incomplete pass. Wisely done by the senior Roselle to keep playing until he heard a whistle. And DePauw, for now, looks like they've got it in prime scoring position with 26 6/10.
I think this is a great job by the officials. You allow the play to play out. and see what call you have on the field once you guys are all actually able to gather and then make the official call.
Down.
So we'll say an incomplete pass. Nehemiah Dow, the sophomore from Indy, one of those triplets from Ben Davis in the sophomore class, was the one that almost got that strip sack.
Just doing a nice job on the edge, getting to the quarterback. As you said, the sophomore, good against the pass, good against the run. Two TFLs on the season, almost got a strip sack at a crazy point in this second quarter.
Would have been a really big change in momentum there for DePauw, particularly after being on this end back earlier in the quarter and seeing what looked to be at least 3 out of that drive evaporate because of their own strip sack on their quarterback.
But what it does, as you saw everyone reacting, if it had been a fumble recovery return for however many yards that was, life back into Blackstock Stadium. Right now you just feel like everyone's kind of hanging in the balance, waiting for someone to make a play. So trying to find a way to get energy back with your fans is going to be important moving forward.
Punting unit on here for Tyler Bell. His second punt of the day, a high spiraling one. Johnson with some company right in front of him, and he's able to make the catch. Still a little time to work here if you're DePauw offensively with the 2 timeouts and almost 21 seconds.
And as you've seen so much so far in this game, them being able to attack as quickly as they have, their first drive only being 5 plays before they scored and able to punch in some points. So it happens quickly, and if it's 5 plays in a play set that gets you to the touchdown, you know, those plays don't go too quickly, or don't go too long, I should say, so they can strike quickly and maybe get some points on the scoreboard before they go into halftime.
DePauw had a 9-play drive that fizzled out. They were forced to punt. Now they have an opportunity to look like they're going to be able to get some points here at the end of the first half. 1st and 10 for the Tigers from the Owl 44. Neither team has scored since their first drive of the game. Ballantyne takes the snap. Great protection from his offensive line. All day to throw. Might have been tipped. It's underthrown, and coming back to get it and having to play defensive back and bat it down was Ricciardi.
Ricciardi doing a nice job turning himself into a defensive back. Understand the football wasn't going to get to him, but he understood that he couldn't allow it to get to the defenders either. Doing a nice job batting that one down as Ballantyne comes off a bit hobbled after that last throwing attempt.
So he checks out, and Anthony Garzolini, the junior from Terre Haute, 6'5" junior, comes in here for the Tigers as the sophomore starter Ballantyne getting looked at by the sports medicine staff. Garzolini 4 of 7 throughout this first 2 weeks, and the play clock already down to 8. Garzolini drops, throws, and complete. Hit immediately was Lukowski. Nice stick from Bellin. And he takes it to the 40-yard line, and DePauw takes a timeout. But good to see Ballantyne back to his feet. He's got his helmet on. He's going right back into the game after missing 1 play.
It helps when Anthony Garzolini can step in, someone that was in that quarterback position battle going back to the offseason, and can deliver a dart on the sideline to keep things rolling even though your starter went down for just a quick second.
Timeout on the field for the Tigers. They've got 3rd and 6 when we come back here on the ISC Sports Network.
I felt like I became a totally different person at DePauw.
DePauw was really one of the first places that I had an opportunity to explore the arts, the sciences, economics.
DePauw gave me that chance to not only be a leader, but to teach leadership skills to other people.
And DePauw students are known for being well over-invested in their time and commitments, and yet somehow they find a way to do all of it. There's a hunger that we get that starts here.
3rd and 6 here for DePauw. Scott Ballantyne and the DePauw offense back on the field. You saw Carson Johnson walking off to the sideline here with the other Tiger offensive reserves. Tigers, they just 2 of 4 on 3rd down. Here's Ballantyne in Owl territory. Throws across the middle, and dropping it was Ricciardi right before he got sandwiched between a couple of different Owl defenders and Andrew Pullman and Sam Finnerty.
There has to be a mutual understanding that if you're going to take a shot in the middle of the defense, no matter what the time is on the clock, you're going to take a vicious hit. That's exactly what happened to Ricciardi over the middle. Not able to connect. Have to live to see another down.
And now Garzolini back onto the field here for DePauw with 4.9 seconds left. And that will force Kenyon to take their first time out here of the half. And so with the 6'5" Garzolini checking in here, what do you think DePauw's kind of got up their sleeve here? Obviously you want to get Ballantyne out, maybe get a little extra time to get looked at, but with Garzolini at 6'5", 225, he's got a big dip, 5 more inches on Ballantyne, a different look back there at quarterback.
I think that's just another way to get Coach Ian Good to waste a timeout, to not even allow anything for up to chance if they were to get the ball back in this scenario. So just some heady coaching right there from Brett Dietz, doing a nice job running another crew, another formation, an exotic, if you will, for the defense to respond to. And instead of allowing it to play out from Coach Ian Good, he decided to take a timeout.
Kenyon defense back onto the field here. They're expecting DePauw to run a play with almost 5 seconds left to go here in the second quarter. And it will be Garzolini, the backup quarterback, out for his second play here of the ball game. Again, 4th down and 6 for DePauw from the Kenyon 40-yard line. Neither team has scored since their opening drives of the ball game. We're still tied at 7. DePauw does go for it on 4th down. Garzolini climbs. He's going to throw a bomb to the end zone. He's got a whole mess of people there, and it is caught! It's caught in the end zone! Garzolini with a dot, and Leighton Lukowski comes up with it at the horn.
It's a simple formula. It's called playing with house money. You don't have anything to lose, but you do have a lot to gain. And sometimes it's about throwing a jump ball for your guy to go get it, carves out some space, and Lukowski goes up the Jordan way and finds the football in the air, mosses everyone in the end zone, comes down with it clean as the Tigers celebrate on the sideline. Chest bumps going all around for the men in black.
And the extra point up and good here for Matthew Berry. And there should be no time left on the clock, even though the game clock does say 4 seconds. The man defending was Andrew Pullman, but Lukowski, the 6'3" senior wideout, goes up and hauls that thing in. A beautiful, beautiful catch for Lukowski for just his second TD of the year.
A 40-yard jump ball. How do you do, Mr. Lukowski? Go up and be a better athlete than everyone else on the football field. Get life back into your sideline and with your fans. Feel good going back into halftime. And as you come back out for the second half, you get the ball, you retain possession once again, so you're playing that 2-for-1 special that we talked about just a few minutes ago.
So a buzzer-beating touchdown for DePauw. Second one of the year for Leighton Lukowski, the senior wideout. Goes up and hauls it in. First touchdown of the year for the backup quarterback, Anthony Garzolini. And at the break, it's DePauw getting the last score of the half, and they take the lead into the break at 14-7. We're back with halftime next here on the ISC Sports Network.
Rivalry. Let's go, Tigers! It's what drives us,
pushes us,
makes us strive for greatness. At DePauw University, we embrace challenges both on and off the field.
We excel in academics,
athletics,
and beyond.
We rise to every challenge together.
On the field,
in the classroom,
and in our community.
The Monon Bell game is more than a rivalry.
It's a celebration of hard work,
dedication,
and the relentless pursuit of victory.
It's about tradition.
It's about family.
It's about being part of something bigger.
At DePauw, rivalry fuels our ambition.
Let's go! Because we know every challenge makes us stronger.
Every play, every moment, every cheer echoes commitment to being our best.
Victory is earned.
Respect is given. We play for both. Our rivalry with Wabash isn't just about the game. It's about preparing for success in all areas of life.
Over 100 years of other men that have played.
It's not just about the game. It comes down to tradition and brotherhood.
Being able to build your own legacy with your class.
We always want to keep that bell, especially for the campus.
Catch made! Touchdown! Ball game! DePauw will win! Let's go Tigers!
Driven by rivalry.
Defined by excellence.
DePauw University.
Back at Blackstock Stadium, and a lot to cheer about if you're the DePauw Tiger faithful here in Greencastle today, as the Tigers score at the horn on a 40-yard pass from backup quarterback Anthony Garzolini. He finds Lukowski from 40 yards out, and that touchdown has given DePauw the lead back. Opening thoughts in the first half here, Jared Thomas.
I actually don't know if it was a bigger thing that it happened on fourth down, the 40-yard pass from Garzolini to Lukowski, or if the offense for DePauw was so lethargic that it took a play, improbable one at that, at the end of the half, that maybe is going to be the thing that turns this thing around for them. But nonetheless, this is why you play for the entirety of every half, of every quarter, because you just never know. It could be the last 5 seconds that you really see the game start to unfold.
A lot of happy folks here in Greencastle. Get a look at some of the halftime stats. Passing yards have been the name of the game here. Ryan Dean, 25 attempts in the first half for the Kenyon quarterback, 18 completions, 169 yards, well above his season average in completion percentage. What have you thought so far of the Kenyon offense here overall?
Have to give that offensive line a lot of credit, just protecting him consistently, but it's a twofold type of thing. You get protection long enough, but if you are Ryan Dean, you get the football out of your hands, and when you're a freshman, sometimes the only thing that you can really depend on is, hey, when I catch this snap, get it to my receivers right now, and I think he's done a nice job of that, and that reflects the 0 sacks in that first half and the 169 passing yards that he has to his name.
On the other side for DePauw offensively, Scott Ballantyne, 11 for 19 through the air for 153 yards. 44 of those total team passing yards belong to Garzolini. He came in for one play after Ballantyne got dinged up, and then came in for the 40-yard heave at the end of the half. What do you try to do if you're DePauw offensively, trying to get Ballantyne back in rhythm like we saw a week ago?
I think if Ballantyne is healthy and he can go, then you put him back out there. He's obviously your starter. He won that job for a reason, and everyone is going to talk about Garzolini and what he did in those 2 throws that he had, the more difficult one being the one on the sideline where you had to get somewhat of a positive gain before you call that timeout to save those precious seconds. But Ballantyne, I feel like he's been a bit up and down, maybe trying to take the entire kitchen sink at times. He had a sack that was actually negated because of a face mask. He had some errant throws that he missed his targets and his receivers. So the young fella just has to calm down. Maybe the injury will give him the time to reset, come back out in the second half and be better.
A lot of happy thoughts here from Blackstock Stadium for the DePauw faithful as their team leads 14-7 at the break after neither team scored for the majority of that first half after the first 2 times they touched the rock today. We're back with more next here from Greencastle on the ISC Sports Network.
I felt like I became a totally different person at DePauw.
DePauw was really one of the first places that I had an opportunity to explore the arts, the sciences, economics.
DePauw gave me that chance to not only be a leader, but to teach leadership skills to other people.
And DePauw students are known for being well over-invested in their time and commitments, and yet somehow they find a way to do all of it. There's a hunger that we get that starts here.
Our students have a gold standard academic experience driven by faculty who know and care about each one of them.
We're fostering new ways of seeing and thinking, equipping students with a creative method that can be applied liberally to challenges in society, science, business, technology, and beyond.
The fact that a student might do a co-curricular program like Management Fellows whilst pursuing a major in the creative school whilst doing a minor in liberal arts is something you just wouldn't find at another institution.
Monon is pretty much the biggest game in D3.
And we always want to keep that bell, especially for the campus.
It comes down to tradition and brotherhood, playing for the guys that are to your left and to your right.
The past history that we've had, over 100 years of other men that have played.
Let's go, Tigers! Let's go! Ah!
Let's go. Put up 6. Let's go.
Let's go!
Before I was on campus, I was very nervous. I'd make friends and my teacher's gonna be nice. But now that I'm here, all my fears have washed away, and I'm more excited to learn than I have been in a while.
And that's one of the things I think that DePauw does incredibly well. It provides an opportunity for individuals to find their place in the world, and that's something that the university provides everyone who comes here.
It's never the last time you're at DePauw. You'll always be back, and I know that I'm coming back for these people and these places and these memories that I have.
Number 14, DePauw leads Kenyon 14-7 here at halftime from Greencastle. Home opener for the Tigers and the conference opener for both teams as members of the North Coast Athletic Conference. And a lot of highlights early on and late in that first half as we jump into our first half highlights here on the ISC Sports Network. DePauw won the opening toss. They elected to kick off, and Jared Kenyon did a great job. They go down the field 13 plays, take up 87 yards and 6:41 off the clock for that first score of the day.
If there was ever a way that you draw up how your team should start offensively on the road, it's exactly that. Over 10 plays, control the clock, control the crowd, and then at the end of all of that hard work, go punch it in for a score. And I really felt that calmed the nerves of everyone on their sideline to then say, let's go play an actual football game and not a lopsided one that we saw a year ago.
Dylan Carlquist on the catch and run. He scores from 5 yards out on the pass from Ryan Dean. DePauw got the ball very next time. They got set up big time by the 40-yard catch and run from Palmer Samuels, his first catch of the day. Finished off with a Carson Johnson 9-yard run. And it looked like after that initial punch in the gut, DePauw had found their footing underneath them with that first offensive drive.
It felt like they were a caged animal waiting to be let out of their cage so they can go on the attack, because they went right down the field with such high efficiency, go right down and score in response to what the Owls did on the opening kickoff and their offensive possession. So it felt like we really had a nice football game going in that first quarter.
And then after that, if you like defensive football, this is the game for you. We had five combined. We had 6 combined punts and the turnover in there after the strip sack against Valentine. So the defense for both sides bowed up really well after watching their opponent go down and score on the first time they touched the rock.
There's not enough talk about why teams start so fast on offense. It's because you have what you call sequence of plays or your openers. Those are the plays that as you watched your film on that defense going into the game, those are the things you know when you get in that they're going to give you a particular look. And as long as you stay on schedule, those are the plays that you know that you can hit on pretty consistently. And that's what we saw from both offenses. But the other side of when you actually get into a game, defenses adjust. And that's what we saw with those adjustments. They adjust to those formations, to whatever it is, the action that they're getting. And then you actually have a competitive football game, because now you get all of the add-on stuff for the sequence, and you actually get into reacting to what you're seeing right in front of you and get into a little bit more situational football. And I think that's what we saw for the better part of that first half.
Interesting end of the half where DePauw looked like they were going to go right in and score. They run in, they get a sack, they get pushed back a little bit, forced to punt. It looks like Kenyon might be able to go and do something. They get the ball at their own 20 after a touchback on the punt. They had all 3 timeouts. They got a positive gain on their first play and then went backwards after that, had to punt. It wasn't a great punt, and it gets down in their own territory, and eventually that leads to the Garzolini 40-yard pass to Lukowski from 40 yards out at the horn. A big heave from the big man, 6'5", the backup QB in Garzolini. So it was an interesting end of the half, but it ends up on the right side for the black and gold.
And, Rick, we could probably take that a step further. Once the DePauw Tigers got the football back in their own territory, the Kenyon defense did a nice job of bowing up and creating a stop. It was actually 4th down, as we've already talked about. And honestly, great call by Coach Dietz from DePauw, understanding that at the end of the half, you throw the ball in the end zone. If it gets picked off, it really doesn't matter because it's going to the half no matter what. But when you have special players like Leighton Lukowski who can go up and high point that football and come down with it, it turns into a playing with, we just want to get to the half, into, man, that was a great play call and a great play by a great receiver. So you go into halftime feeling pretty good, even though that might not have been the original intent.
What do you think are some of the conversations going on in both locker rooms right now? Obviously, we mentioned, last year at Kenyon, this game was a blowout early as DePauw ran away and hid. They're in a real dogfight here. Let's go to the visitors first. Kenyon, what do you think they're going over in their locker room right now?
You start with last year, and the Kenyon defense, 482 passing yards given up to Nathan McCahill himself and 7 touchdown passes. That is not what we've seen from the Ballantyne and the backup quarterback in Anthony Garangowski in the Garzolini, in the second half or in the second quarter. So you feel good that your defense has really stepped up to the punch and really delivered nicely in that department. So you just tell your group, if you're Coach Ian Good, a lot of the same of what we did in the first half, because it actually works. We just have to finish and not give up that last second touchdown pass at the end. And then on the other side for DePauw, I would imagine Coach Dietz is talking to his group about, let's feed off of that energy that we felt at the very last 4 seconds of that first half, because if we do, then we can really balloon this lead into more than just 7 points.
Tigers do get the ball to start the second half. Should be a fun one here from Greencastle. Tigers on top by a touchdown here at the break. You're watching college football on the ISC Sports Network.
Rivalry.
Let's go, Tigers!
It's what drives us.
Pushes us.
Makes us strive for greatness. At DePauw University, we embrace challenges both on and off the field.
We excel in academics,
athletics,
and beyond.
We rise to every challenge together.
On the field,
in the classroom,
and in our community.
The Monon Bell game is more than a rivalry.
It's a celebration of hard work,
dedication,
and the relentless pursuit of victory.
It's about tradition.
It's about family.
It's about being part of something bigger.
At DePauw, rivalry fuels our ambition.
Get up, Tigers, let's go!
Because we know every challenge makes us stronger.
Every play, every moment, every cheer echoes commitment to being our best.
Victory is earned.
Respect is given. We play for both. Our rivalry with Wabash isn't just about the game. It's about preparing for success in all areas of life.
Over 100 years of other men that have played.
It's not just about the game. It comes down to tradition and brotherhood.
Being able to build your own legacy with your class.
We always want to keep that bell, especially for the campus.
Catch made! Touchdown! Ball game! DePauw will win! Let's go, Tigers!
Driven by rivalry,
defined by excellence.
DePauw University.
Game started off hot for both teams in the first half. Kenyon got the ball, and they went right down the field. In 13 plays, they took 6:41 off the clock. It was a lot of Ryan Dean through the air. He was effective early on.
It was a lot of taking advantage of the open space and the voids that the defense created with their pre-snap alignment. That is the DePauw defense, and Ryan Dean doing a nice job finding receivers to his left, to his right. All of those easy throws that are easy pitch and catches, they took advantage of all the way down the field on that first drive.
He completed his first 3 passes of the day, did Dean. Got Benjamin involved. This was a nice one on the run. Completed it across the middle to Charlie Taylor, who's already got a couple of grabs here today. Dean was moving the pocket a lot. This one, a lollipop up there, but a heck of a catch going over the shoulder from Comerford.
And one of those passes that we saw at the beginning of that highlight was actually on third down. Gets flushed out of the pocket, still throws back across his body in the middle of the defense. Third down conversion. It was third down and 12, and they got 15 on that particular play, doing a nice job just clicking on all cylinders on that first possession.
That was Dylan Carlquist with a little toe drag swag for the TD for Kenyon, but then coming right back, and DePauw goes right to their rumbling tight end, Palmer Samuels, for 40, and that got the Tigers in business.
Palmer, someone that was actually dealing with a hamstring injury, and they didn't know what his status was going to be, but I think it's safe to say after that first catch and run, that hamstring is A-okay.
And then here's the highlight at the end of the half. Backup quarterback Anthony Garzolini, throw it up and let your man get it. Leighton Lukowski says, "This is mine," from 40, and at the horn, DePauw gets the lead for the first time today, and they lead 14-7 as Lukowski pumped, as he should be.
It's when you have complete confidence in your receivers. Anthony Garzolini saying, hey, Mr. Carmel football's down there somewhere. Just throw it up from here all the way back to Carmel, and he comes down with a phenomenal play to end the first half.
Both teams back on the field going through their final paces before the second half gets underway, and DePauw will receive the second half kickoff. Home opener for the Tigers, trying to move their record to 3-0, the newly minted 14th ranked team in the country. We're back with half 2 next here on the ISC Sports Network.
I felt like I became a totally different person at DePauw.
DePauw was really one of the first places that I had an opportunity to explore the arts, the sciences, economics.
DePauw gave me that chance to not only be a leader, but to teach leadership skills to other people.
And DePauw students are known for being well over-invested in their time and commitments, and yet somehow they find a way to do all of it. There's a hunger that we get that starts here.
Our students have a gold standard academic experience driven by faculty who know and care about each one of them.
We're fostering new ways of seeing and thinking, equipping students with a creative method that can be applied liberally to challenges in society, science, business, technology, and beyond.
The fact that a student might do a co-curricular program like Management Fellows whilst pursuing a major in the creative school whilst doing a minor in liberal arts is something you just wouldn't find at another institution.
Monon is pretty much the biggest game in D3.
And we always want to keep that bell, especially for the campus.
It comes down to tradition and brotherhood, playing for the guys that are to your left and to your right.
The past history that we've had, over 100 years of other men that have played.
Let's go, Tigers! Let's go! Ah!
Let's go. Put up 6. Let's go.
Let's go!
Before I was on campus, I was very nervous. I gotta make friends, and my teacher's gonna be nice. But now that I'm here, all my fears have washed away, and I'm more excited to learn than I have been in a while.
And that's one of the things I think that DePauw does incredibly well. It provides an opportunity for individuals to find their place in the world, and that's something that the university provides everyone who comes here.
It's never the last time you're at DePauw. You'll always be back, and I know that I'm coming back for these people and these places and these memories that I have.
Second half about to get underway as DePauw will actually kick the ball off here after kicking off to start the ball game. And so we thought that DePauw was going to have the opportunity to get a little make it take it, but they got to put the defense back out there, and you have a hungry Kenyon bunch that thought they were going to go into the halftime break tied at 7. They got a little score to settle here to start the second half off.
But they have to attack the second half the same way they did the first half, which was just be calm, be poised, get into whatever your rhythm is offensively, get into your reads, deliver the ball on time, block up front, and just live with the results.
Buddy Gomez kicks it deep, and the second half is underway. Dominic Simpson takes it his own 3. Kenyon trying to get a nice kickoff return, and he is walloped shy of the 20. Big-time kick coverage there by the DePauw defense. Owen Roselle in on the stop for the DePauw defense, and now here comes the Kenyon offense. As we mentioned, Ryan Dean, 18 for 26 in that first half. Dipped below 70% late, but he was really effective in the first half.
Doing a nice job just catching the football, finding his targets, getting the ball out of his hand quickly before that DePauw defense can even generate any type of pressure.
First drive of the third quarter here for Kenyon. They're hoping to duplicate what they did in the first half when they went right down the field and scored to go up 7-0. They're trailing for the first time here today. Jordan Benjamin, 10 carries for 19 yards in the backfield here with Ryan Dean. A delayed handoff, and Benjamin with a head of steam able to break a couple tackles and lunges out. A late flag is thrown in on a nice gain on 1st and 10 by Benjamin, the Canadian from Montreal. Hildebrand on the stop for DePauw, but let's see what the flag is.
Holding 65 on the offense, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Repeat, first down.
So that's a hold on the right tackle, Caleb Kirkpatrick, the sophomore. And a good opening play will be backed up a little bit here for the Owls on the first play of the drive.
Caleb Kirkpatrick is someone that Coach Ian Good says he loves what he brings to the offensive line. He actually anchors that group, brought a different mindset in his time now as a starter, doing a nice job up front. Sometimes you have to toe that line of playing illegally and picking up a personal foul or a holding call just to get everyone's attention on the sideline. Not saying that's what Mr. Kirkpatrick did, but I understand it at points.
5-yard mark off, 1st and 15 from the 15. Hand off to Benjamin, right up the gut. Roselle holding on. Coming in to finish off the play as well was Nehemiah Dow.
A lot of Ben Davis names being called in that first half. Talked about it in that first half once again. They love what they have in this sophomore crew from Ben Davis, come from a winning program. That was something that when you're in the state of Indiana, you understand what Ben Davis brings to the table on the high school football scene. So a great program being manned up right now by Coach Russ Mann.
Holt Hildebrand, the starting safety, exited. So Jeremiah Miller, his backup out of Logansport, comes in here as well as a couple of different safeties in there. Zach Reese, the starter, paired with the aforementioned Miller.
The ball was set. Please take one timeout off the board for DePauw.
So again, that player that left was Holt Hildebrand after the ball was set. So not even a minute into the second half, Jared, DePauw's already lost one of their 3 timeouts.
And as we saw at the end of the first half, those could be precious jewels as we go into the back part of this game if it remains competitive. Need those timeouts, need all of the resources that you possibly can have in close games.
Second down, 13 yards to go. First drive of the second half for the Kenyon Owl offense under the direction of the freshman Ryan Dean. Blitz pickup from Benjamin, throws off his back foot, pretty ball, but overthrown, and there's a flag on the far side. The intended man was Dylan Carlquist, who had the touchdown reception back in the first half. It's either going to be against him or his counterpart, Jaden Miller.
It's being a smart football player from Ryan Dean. When you're a quarterback and you have pressure in your face, sometimes you throw the football up, give your receiver a chance to be a competitor.
15 yards in the previous spot, automatic first down.
To go up and get the ball, because sometimes you get defenders that get a little bit too anxious to make a play and they get called for penalties like we just saw there.
Miller, the junior out of St. Louis. They'll move that ball in the line of scrimmage up to the 32-yard line. Another penalty. Just the third one here against DePauw here, or the second one against the Tigers today. Kenyon on the other side, 7 penalties for 58 yards here early on. A couple backs in the backfield on Dean. Able to hand it off through that right side to one of the backup running backs and plowing his way through for the Owls for a short gain on the 1st and 10 from the 32.
This doesn't feel like a Kenyon team that is 0-2 so far in this young season. This is a team that fought with a lot of resiliency going back to last year, finishing 5-5, a program first at 500 or better since 2012, beating Ohio Wesleyan for the first time in the season conclusion since 2009. So this is a crew that, although faced some adversity, they feel they still have the identity of the team that changed a lot of history with last year's final in the score in the win column and the loss column.
That was Dominic Santoyema on the carry, his first of the day. Benjamin the lone setback. He'll take the carry here over the left side. Breaks a second tackle, gets upended again, gets shoved for an extra 3 or 4 yards by Joey Rowland. That was play initially was stopped behind the line again, and then he got thrown for an extra 3 in the first down.
But Jordan Benjamin, someone that missed time last season due to personal reasons, has come back and joined his teammates and has given them a spark plug out of the running back position as he scurries for the first down.
That was a 6-yard pickup on 2nd down and 5, and that defensive pass interference has breathed new life here to the Kenyon Owl offense. First time with the ball to start this third quarter off. They're trying to tie our game at 14. And both teams scored the first time they had the ball in the first quarter, then nothing until 4 seconds left on the bomb by DePauw to end the half. Play action, man in his face, ball knocked free. Oh, it's intercepted and caught. DePauw with their first takeaway of the day as Dominic Siebel knocked the ball free, and it was intercepted by the high-stepping Luke Nolan.
D3Football.com team of the week in week 1 in their game against Rolls-Holman. That is Luke Nolan comes down with the interception, but that play cannot be talked about without discussing what Dominic Siebel brings to this defense. Relentless pressure, just continues to play hard. That could be a forced fumble by him, but it doesn't mean anything if his buddy Nolan doesn't come down with the interception as a byproduct. That's defensive linemen playing hand in hand with one another, creating another big play on defense for this DePauw Tiger team.
We'll see how they score it. As Ballantyne back out there at quarterback here for DePauw. Great field position for the Tigers as they try to extend their 7-point lead with 12:02 remaining here in the third. They start 1st and 10 from the Kenyon 36. Ballantyne, quick out far side. There's his brother Robbie. Nice stiff arm against Bellin. And a nice gain of 8 or 9 on 1st and 10.
That's 2 crazy plays if you're Kenyon that you feel just got away from you. The end of the half, Anthony Garzolini finding Lakowski at the end for the touchdown, and then your offense you feel is rolling a bit in the second half, and then a forced fumble that if hit the ground would have been a live ball, but instead of it hitting the ground, it hit the hands of Luke Nolan. Turnover. DePauw is driving once again.
2nd down and 1. Play action, blitz not picked up. Ballantyne having to roll, throws on the run towards the sideline, and it is incomplete. Initially having between the hands was Ricciardi, but then he came back down and the ball knocked that thing free as we get a replay here with a Kenyon player down.
Some pressure up the middle by defensive lineman Alex Knight that actually didn't get called, and as you saw, when you don't retain possession of the football as you hit the ground, it will be called incomplete. Frankie Ricciardi not able to complete that one on the sideline, which would have been a big play for his teammates.
Dominic Simpson, the junior safety, on the breakup. We'll take a break as the sports medicine staff takes a look at an injured Owl on the far sideline. 3rd down and 1 for DePauw with the ball and the lead here on ISC.
I felt like I became a totally different person at DePauw.
DePauw was really one of the first places that I had an opportunity to explore the arts, the sciences, economics.
DePauw gave me that chance to not only be a leader, but to teach leadership skills to other people.
And DePauw students are known for being well over-invested in their time and commitments, and yet somehow they find a way to do all of it. There's a hunger that we get that starts here.
Our students have a gold standard academic experience driven by faculty who know and care about each one of them.
We're fostering new ways of seeing and thinking, equipping students with a creative method that can be applied liberally to challenges in society, science, business, technology, and beyond.
The fact that a student might do a co-curricular program like Management Fellows whilst pursuing a major in the creative school whilst doing a minor in liberal arts is something you just wouldn't find at another institution.
Sam Finnerty, the starting linebacker out of Brooklyn, New York, was the injured Owl after that play. Now it's 3rd down and 1 here for the DePauw offense, Jared. First drive of the second half. They've officially ruled that as a forced fumble by Siebel and Nolan on the fumble recovery. So not an interception against Dean, but either way a takeaway for DePauw. Now they're trying to turn it into points. 3rd down and 1. Nice move in the backfield by Whitehead. It would have been a loss on 3rd and 1, and he takes it to the 20, make it the 19, and a big-time carry and a first down for Whitehead.
Once again, that's Alex Knight for the Owls getting in the backfield. 5 TFLs through 2 games, but not able to get Caden Whitehead down in the backfield. The nice jump cut right there, showing the elusiveness, and then breaking right down Broadway for the first down.
Pickup of 8. And it's 1st and 10 from just inside the red zone. If more is good, some is good, more is better. Whitehead bullies his way down inside the 10. That's back-to-back first down runs for Caden Whitehead, and it's goal to go for the DePauw offense.
This is a foe familiar with Kenyon and what Caden Whitehead brings to the table. A season ago, 16 carries for 119 yards, and it was a lot of this, allowing the blocks to develop and then bursting with speed. Back-to-back runs, Caden Whitehead starting to ingratiate himself into this one.
Pullman prevents 6. Will they go to Whitehead for a 3rd straight time? They do. He dances, but there's someone waiting for him in the backfield. It's Aiden Jones. Or actually, make that Michael Kerr, who had a half a sack back in the first half. He's been in the backfield a lot today.
Someone that we talked about probably got robbed with a half a sack. It should have been a whole one, but this time a whole effort by him gets Whitehead down to the turf. Time and time again, when the Owls needed a big play, they have leaned on the product out of Cleveland, Ohio.
A loss of 4, and like we talked with Brian Dietz this week, he said in those goal-to-go situations, even though they've put up a lot of points in the first 2 weeks, this is the area of the field the offense has had a lot of trouble in.
It's really just a way to keep your team focused and constantly getting better despite starting the season spotless on the record.
High snap forces Ballantyne into trouble. He's going to go nowhere fast and get sacked. Kerr got his hands in there again along with Ben Dutton and Andrew Cooney. That high snap really derailed that play.
But even there, taking the sack doesn't feel like a catastrophic mistake because right here, so many guys around you, throw it away, you chance a fumble. And in this part of the game, that would be so critically negative of a play for your offense. Don't want to take that type of hit at this point. Nice job by Ballantyne getting down and taking the sack. Sometimes it's better to just get down and take the negative than to force a positive, and it turns into a bigger negative.
1st and goal back to the 8, going end zone. Man open, caught Lukowski, and he ended the first half with a touchdown. He starts the second half with 6 as well.
This is a receiver that stepped into a receiver role nicely alongside Ballantyne on the other side, but this is his coming out party. That's now 2 times he has had a personal invitation to the end zone and made that one look a lot easier than the one we saw at the end of the first half.
Matthew Berry on to add the extra point. 2 of 2 today. And that one is good as well with 9:02 left to go here in the third quarter. DePauw takes exactly 3 minutes off the clock, and they convert on that fumble recovery for 6, and Lukowski, like you mentioned, Jared, having a breakout day. Big day for 7 in black.
It helps when you're second-team All-American on the other side. Doesn't have to do much, and you're still effective having a 2-score lead. That just speaks the amount of weapons that they have on offense.
So what does Kenyon do here? Down by 2 scores. Just turned it over on the first drive here of the third, and the folks in purple had a really good start today. They were hanging around until that end play of the end of the first half, the 40-yard jump ball to Lukowski, and the Owls now find themselves down by a couple of scores.
I would even say they got back some of that momentum on their first drive coming out of halftime, but it wasn't until Dominic Siebel forced that fumble right in their own territory, backed up in their own territory, allowed that offense for DePauw to trot back on the field and go and find Lukowski for another score.
Buddy Gomez to kick this one away once again for the Tigers. Dominic Simpson and Tyler Gladden, the deep men for the Kenyon Owls, who are 0-2 on the year. DePauw 2-0. Unanimous 14th ranked team in the country at the D3 level. 4 straight North Coast Athletic Conference championships for DePauw, who thought they were a Final Four team a year ago, got tripped up on this field in the 3rd round against Johns Hopkins. Simpson on the run at his own 10. Owls trying to get something going here offensively, as Simpson able to take it out across the 25-yard line. That's where Ryan Dean and the Kenyon offense will come back out onto the field.
And if you remember about that game last year that they took that loss to Johns Hopkins, that was a game that was well within their reach, actually took a holding call with less than 10 seconds to go in the game, and by rule, a penalty under 10 seconds, that's a winding of the clock, 10-second runoff, and that was actually what lost them the game. And I asked Brett Dietz, what is it about that loss and that critical mistake that you take with you into this next season? And he said you have to put that in your memory bank and in your portfolio. You learn from it, but then you just move on, and you're better because of it. And I thought that was a key answer from him, continuing to be the leader of men for this DePauw Tigers team.
Benjamin on the carry to start. No gain there as Blake Cole wraps him up right when he got to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Said it becomes part of your coaching wisdom and portfolio. And anyone knows anything about coaching, you want your child or your relative to play for someone that has a lot of wisdom and a broad portfolio of football knowledge, because you're not just teaching them to be football players in college, you're teaching them how to be men.
I don't know about you, but I felt smarter after talking to Coach Good this week.
100%.
I didn't carry it through the week, but in that moment I felt very smart. Flag here, and the hands up by Joey Fico, trying to say I didn't touch and escort Dylan Carlquist down to the turf. But both flags, and it looks like it's going to go against the backup corner from Chicago.
Pass interference on the defense, number 21. 15 yards to the previous spot, automatic first down.
Just the 3rd penalty today against DePauw, but a 4th one against DePauw today, but a big one there. That's their 2nd personal foul here in the 2nd half.
Back-to-back drive that those penalties have happened on. Really, when they had Kenyon dead to rights, committing those penalties, keeping those drives alive based off of their own inability to not commit penalties.
Will Domino, the starting tight end, is in the wing back in the backfield. Pistol look for Dean with Benjamin behind him. Fresh set of downs after the DePauw penalty for Kenyon, down by 14. Give to Benjamin. He is really hitting that hole hard, stretching out towards the 44. Tripped up by Roselle, along with Joey Rowland on the stop there for the Tigers.
Only 2 yards a carry right now for Jordan Benjamin, doing a nice job still. His longest is 9 right now. When he gets opportunities to exploit open run lanes, he's done so with an intensity about him.
Kenyon getting to the line under the direction of 3rd-year offensive coordinator Blake Cottrell. Went to college here in Indiana at Taylor University over in Upland. 2nd and 7 for his Owl offense. Screen, leading his man a little bit, but a nice catch and a nice adjustment by Comerford in his first catch of the 2nd half. He almost got blown up there, but then almost got a 1st down to boot.
Well, I love what Coach Cottrell is doing, as you mentioned, him being a letter winner at Taylor University, offensive lineman, was on staff there for 6 seasons, just all over the place in that coaching department. But I love that they're sticking with the game plan. What they've done so far is working. Don't veer away from it because you feel like the game has gotten away from you. Continue to attack because the plan has worked thus far. Just continue to work that plan.
Kenyon started the day 3 for 3 on 3rd downs. They've been 0 for 4 since. It's a 3rd down and 2 right here. Benjamin trying to pick it up over the left side. He got 1 yard. He needed 2, and he got pushed back in a big way from Roselle and Holt Hildebrand.
Roselle has been all over the football field today, and that was Joey Rowland getting in there on the action as well. A converted boundary outside linebacker to a field outside linebacker, showing exactly why he can play all over the field, laying the boom on that 3rd down attempt.
Again, Kenyon looks like they're going to go for it. Every time they've done this, though, Dean is backed up after barking the signals like he is here and done a pooch punt. So he backs up, and he's going to run the play this time. Actually going to pooch it away. It looked like he might have done it, and then able to kick it away. Had a man draped all on him, and that could have been disastrous as Chris Green, another one of that three-headed monster of the sophomores from Ben Davis, almost another big-time takeaway there, almost got another blocked kick.
Only thing I don't know is if quarterback Ryan Dean called his own number with just doing the mini rugby rollout just to avoid some pressure up the middle, but nonetheless got the kick off. And I know his coaching staff is excited that they eluded another catastrophe in the backfield.
It was Chris Green almost wrecking that play in favor of DePauw. But here comes Scott Ballantyne and the Tiger offense. They just scored their third score of the day. They're trying to go 2 for 2 here in the third quarter. 6 minutes left in the third. 1st and 10 from the 10 for the 14th ranked Tigers. Carson Johnson in the backfield. First time we've seen him here in the second half. Roll out Ballantyne. Wide open. Lukowski has the 2 touchdowns today. Eluded the first tackler. And then jumping on his back was Aiden Jones. But Lukowski getting free and easy here all day. He's over 100 yards.
Unbelievable effort from Lukowski today, just all over the football field right now, making big plays, making the unassuming plays, the ones you just pitch and catch, get the ball, and just get all of the yards that you can. Nice job from number 7.
Lukowski came in 10 catches, 131 yards today. He is over 100 yards here as a Kenyon player slow to get back to his feet. That's one of the backup defensive players for the Owls, but this DePauw offense has been really clicking on all cylinders coming out of the locker room. Isaiah Reyes, the injured Owl. Good to see him pop back to his feet, able to walk off under his own power back to the Kenyon sideline. So 8 catches for Lukowski today, almost matching his season total coming in. He's got 106 yards. The way he's playing it with the time left, he might surpass his season totals here in week 3.
He's done a nice job today. And that's what you do when you come in the game. Not so much the featured guy, the number 1 guy, as we've already talked about with Robbie Ballantyne, but when you get your opportunities as a number 2 guy, you're just as effective if you can make those plays and make everyone's job easier when you take some of that attention off wide receiver number 1.
Clock winds on the fresh set of downs here for DePauw. 15-yard catch from Lukowski. Ballantyne awaits the snap. Fakes, throws, complete, spinning away from trouble is Ricciardi, but then the ball pops free. Kenyon saying they have it, and we will wait and see, and they're going to say that Kenyon has the ball. So the second takeaway by this Owls defense as Ricciardi was fighting for extra yardage, and it comes back to bite DePauw as Kenyon will take over inside the 25 of the Tigers.
But this is just a heck of a play by Andrew Pullman. Rips the ball out right there, as you can see, but he's also going to be the same guy that's going to get a personal foul call on this for the taunting, celebrating, toss the football down at the end, still waiting for official call from the official.
Play, number 20 on the defense, spiked the ball. That's unsportsmanlike conduct. That's 15 yards from the spot of the recovery.
So instead of starting at the 24, you're going to move that back closer to the 40. And it's not what you want to see out of there as the freshman Pullman makes the big play, but then has the little mental lapse there as well. And he might have been the one that fell on it as well. There was another Owl that jumped in on it, but it looked to be Pullman in there as well.
I would have to imagine that he was the one that forced the fumble and then recovered the fumble because he came out of the pile with the football to actually spike in the first place. But when you play with emotion, sometimes they get the best of you and you get penalized when you don't necessarily want to travel backwards 15 yards when you just created a huge stop and turnover.
DePauw trying to stop the lead. Then Kenyon almost gives it back as a squib snap back goes between the legs of Dean and he falls on it. And this has been just 2 crazy last snaps from scrimmage for both sides.
But it all goes back to how they ended the first half. Those last few seconds, it is a ripple effect, and it compounds over time. And sometimes when you take a huge chin check like you did at the end of that first half and they go up 7 points and you didn't expect it to because they're not supposed to in that moment, it does affect you in the better part of that second half.
2nd down and 19 after the bad snap. Motion man is Domino, the tight end. Kenyon has not scored since their first drive to start the game off. Benjamin right up the middle for a short couple, and a late flag gets thrown in. Blake Cole Siebel, a couple of Tigers in on the tackle. And Roselle in there too.
Number 0 on the defense, 15 yards from the end of the run, first down.
So tack on an extra 15. At the end of the play, you see Roselle sticking that left hand up there and got the face mask of Benjamin.
Some herky-jerky play going on with all of the penalties and lopsided play right now. At some point in time, someone has to put the foot down and be the calming force for their respective side of the ball and team to get this thing righted back in the proper direction.
15-yard mark-off puts it at the DePauw 31 for the Kenyon offense. In first drive of the game, 13 plays, 80 yards, took 6+ minutes off the clock. Then they were in a rock fight with the Tigers until the 14th ranked team in the land got the jumping Hail Mary at the end of the first half in the end zone. Dean back to Benjamin again. Plenty of work here for the senior out of Quebec, and he lunges and leaps inside the 25 to maybe the 24.
Just a consistent run threat out of the backfield. First game, 13 carries for 44 yards. Then he follows it up in the second game against University of Wisconsin, Eau Claire, with 12 carries for 50 yards. Somebody that's going to make the most of his opportunities with just how hard he plays consistently over time.
Benjamin stopped by Roland at the 25. It's 2nd down and 4 here for the Kenyon offense. Late stages of the third, down by 14. Dean on the snap. DePauw brings pressure. Go route, end zone, trying to get there, and it's led and too far on the touch pass there from Dean as he was looking for Charlie Taylor. It looked like it was Fico there in coverage for the Tigers.
I love the no call there on that play. Both players, receiver and defensive back, have the right to just as much real estate as the other guy, just physical all the way down the field. You allow them to play ball. I'm good with the no flag being thrown.
So here's 3rd and 8 for Kenyon. They're 3 of 8 on 3rd down today. They have not converted, Jared, on their last 5 tries. Trying to get points after the takeaway here. Benjamin on the handoff. Big hole up the middle is going to get the first down and more. Nice cutback move, and this thought they might have gotten the DePauw tackler for tripping as he stuck that leg out and tripped Benjamin on the way there, but we'll try to see who that was. But Benjamin gives him a first down inside the 10. And it was Hildebrand who stuck that leg out and tripped Benjamin pretty clearly there, it looked like.
Not sure if that doesn't get called for tripping, what exactly tripping is, because that was a textbook one right there. But Jordan Benjamin, I tell you, he's a lightning in a bottle type of running back. Once he gets to the line of scrimmage, if he sees daylight, he can really make you pay.
15-yard run on 3rd and 4. Kenyon trying to cap this thing off. Pitch out. Benjamin on a little option move. Nice move in the backfield, and he gets stuck immediately. Hildebrand came up and chopped him down shy of the 5. We'll call it the 7.
This is why Kenyon loves Jordan Benjamin out in the open space. The first guy, you just don't have a chance. It's the 2nd and 3rd guys that have to rally to the football defensively to get Benjamin down. And that was a nice job by everyone pursuing from DePauw to really swarm to Benjamin on that carry.
Last 2 minutes of the 3rd quarter. Santuyama, the back next to Dean. Rollout for the freshman QB, looking end zone. Pass, caught, touchdown, Comerford. And Kenyon able to cash in after the turnover, and they're now down by 8.
Well executed in the red zone area right here. You can't see it, but manufactured on man coverage, a bit of a pick. You can see Charlie Taylor throwing his hands up because he knows he got his buddy Brendan Comerford open for the touchdown. And Ryan Dean doing a nice job feeding it to his wide receiver for another score for the Owls.
9th catch of the day for Comerford. He's over 60 yards. That's his first touchdown today. And on to add the extra point is Sebastian Jones. And it is good. And with a $1:59 remaining in the 3rd, Kenyon able to make this back into a 1-score game.
Once again, the game is within your reach. Don't veer off of what you've done to this point just because there have been some lopsided plays that didn't go your way. The offensive game plan has worked. Your defense has traveled from your hometown, from your school's location here to Greencastle, and you've got yourself a ball game at the back part of this 3rd quarter.
21-14, the deficit now here for Kenyon. And remember, like you mentioned back to start this third quarter off, you see it on the scoreboard graphic right there. DePauw missing one of their timeouts because an injured player came off the field after the ball was set. And so with a one-score game here, we mentioned back when it was a one-score game when the penalty happened, how important having all three timeouts was. Now, late stages of the third, starting to feel even more important down a timeout if you're DePauw.
Always need every piece of artillery and resource that you can possibly have as you go to the latter part of a game that is been as not nail-biting and as close as this one. I know Coach Dietz would prefer to have all three, but they're going to have to roll with what they have at this point in the game.
The drive for Kenyon takes over 3 minutes off the clock, booted deep, and Alex Hoover lets it go into the end zone. And here comes the DePauw offense back onto the field with 1:56 remaining in the third quarter. The 14th ranked team in the country's lead has been cut down to a possession. So 1st and 10 for the Tigers from the 25-yard line. Ballantyne today, 15-24 through the air, 194 yards, a touchdown. He's been sacked twice. Does have the lost fumble that did not result in points back in the first half. But right now, Kenyon winning the turnover battle 2-1. Whitehead patiently waits, then puts his foot in the ground and explodes his way through. Sam Finnerty, the linebacker for the tackle, but not before it's a 5-yard pickup from Caden Whitehead.
Rick, I think there's an element that maybe goes a bit unchecked sometimes because you just look at the next opponent and you figure out what is the best way that we can attack this team. But Coach Dietz talked about wanting to be the hunter and not the hunted. And when you're the hunted, everyone is out to get you. But if you're on the attack as the hunter, you don't get caught sleepwalking. And I don't think they got caught sleepwalking today. I just think you have to give a lot of credit to Coach Good and his Kenyon Owls coming out playing a hard-nosed style of football, which is resulting in a great game that we've been able to witness.
Speaking of great games, how about Leighton Lukowski? 9th catch of the day. This one goes for 15 yards. He's at 121 yards on the day. And Bellin was the one that finally shoved him out of bounds after some twisting and turning from 7 and black.
With no Gabe Quigley, gone to graduation from last season, they feel DePauw staff, he has stepped in nicely as the number 2 option without Quigley for the men in black.
Nice handoff up the middle. Whitehead able to break the first tackle, gets the first down into Kenyon territory. Finally stopping the progress there was Pullman, but a hard powering run from Whitehead right up the gut.
Sometimes it's best, as you can see, defensive back for Kenyon. That was Nathaniel Correa. He felt like he had an opportunity to get Whitehead down. That's linebacker Correa, that is. But he wasn't able to. A pressure was sent, and when you run into the pressure, if you can get past that initial wave, there is green grass to exploit. That's exactly what Whitehead and this offensive line did. Carved up just enough space for Whitehead to run through.
12-yard scamper for Whitehead, just the 11th carry for the senior running back today. 15 seconds left to go here in the third. Should be the final play of the quarter. Pass out to Robbie Ballantyne, able to make the first man miss, and then he gets swarmed up after he gets inside that Kenyon 40. Ballantyne has not had a lot of free space today, and Jason Gardner's been one of the main reasons why.
He led the team to start this game with 4 pass deflections. It just speaks to the type of talent that he is to be trusted to follow the best receiver on the field today.
4's in the air as we head to the fourth. A good one here from Blackstock Stadium. Number 14, DePauw leads Kenyon 21-14 here on the ISC Sports Network.
I think it was that door being shut.
Closed. Because now I'm getting a little
Monon is pretty much the biggest game in D3.
And we always want to keep that bell, especially for the campus.
It comes down to tradition and brotherhood, playing for the guys that are to your left and to your right.
The past history that we've had, over 100 years of other men that have played.
Let's go, Tigers! Let's go! Ah!
Let's go. Put up 6. Let's go.
Let's go!
Before I was on campus, I was very nervous. Like, I'd make friends and my teacher's gonna be nice. But now that I'm here, all my fears have like washed away and I'm more excited to learn than I have been in a while.
And that's one of the things I think that DePauw does incredibly well. It provides an opportunity for individuals to find their place in the world, and that's something that the university provides everyone who comes here.
It's never the last time you're at DePauw. You'll always be back, and I know that I'm coming back for these people and these places and these memories that I have.
Fourth quarter play here from Greencastle. DePauw with the ball, and they lead 21-14, 2nd and 5 from the Kenyon 38. Ballantyne rolls, throws, trying to find his man up the sideline. Incomplete. Bellin there defending. It was Ricciardi the intended target, as some of the DePauw fans want a defensive pass interference.
And I think the only reason why they're not going to get it is because, no, the defensive back Bellin didn't play the football, but that football was uncatchable as it landed far out of bounds outside of the grasp of Ricciardi.
He tried to argue his case, it just fell on deaf ears.
Well, that's just part of being a competitor. You always have to argue, even when you're dead wrong.
Then the famous line from a sitcom was, "It's not a lie if you believe it." I know that doesn't work in the court of law, but it was a good line anyway. 7 seconds gone here in the fourth. DePauw trying to reestablish a 2-score advantage. Faking the jet sweep to Ricciardi. Ballantyne, a little dump out to Carson Johnson out of the backfield. Look at the backup running back go, Junior from Indy. And then he might get an extra 15 for a hit out of bounds, but Johnson with the ball in his hands, look out.
It helps when you can give one of your best players on offense and Caden Whitehead a spell, and the guy that substitute in for him can be just as explosive. Carson Johnson doing a nice job turning and catching, getting positive yards.
Number 20 on the defense. That penalty's half the distance.
Late hit.
Goal line, first down.
Late hit on Andrew Pullman. It was a 20-yard catch and run on 3rd and 5 for Carson Johnson. And then it'll be half the distance to the goal, as you heard from our referee, Ronald Swindell. And just to start the fourth quarter, DePauw trying to get that score back up to 14 again. So 1st and goal from the 9. This is the 7th play of the drive for Scott Ballantyne and the DePauw offense. Delayed handoff. Oh, nice little leak out there for Palmer Samuels. He reaches to the goal line, and they'll say his knee was down at the 1, as the 6'3 Samuels was about an inch short from going full extension for 6.
That was a nice job by Matthew Ehrenreich, getting his hands up just in the vision of Ballantyne. Palmer Samuels doing a nice job tracking the football. And then here a scary play, just because if that ball was a fumble that goes out of the end zone, that is a turnover and a touchback possession for Kenyon, but body was down before that ball ever came loose.
Dominic Simpson on the tackle. Ballantyne under center for the first time today. Turns and gives to Johnson, who got them down here. He twists into the end zone, and he'll be about an inch short. Headline judge Mario Tabor on the far sideline sprinted in. And it'll be 3rd and goal from the 1-inch line.
Part of the field that you lean on, your offensive line, a group that has been plagued with a bunch of injuries. They've just done a nice job battling. One thing that I told Coach Dietz is when you have a young offensive line, they just learn a lot earlier than you really expected them to.
The tush push from Greencastle works just like it does in Philadelphia, and Ballantyne in for a 1-yard plunge. And it's back to a 2-score game for DePauw.
A play that they're actually trying to do away with, it feels like. And my thinking is if you can't stop it, then you can't penalize the team that reaps the success from it. But DePauw doing their best Philly special with the tush push, getting Ballantyne in for the touchdown.
Point after attempt upcoming for Matthew Berry, who was perfect today, 3 of 3. And he remains perfect. Just underway. 1 minute and 56 seconds expire here in the fourth quarter, and DePauw has the lead back up to 14 thanks to their quarterback, Scott Ballantyne. So 3:50 of total run time. That drive took 9 plays and 75 yards. First rushing touchdown of the season for Scott Ballantyne, the sophomore quarterback out of Crown Point.
A lot different ball game from last week. DePauw jumped out to a 21-0 first half lead, extending their regular season win streak to 26 with that 35-14 win. They've had to work a lot harder for this one here today, and if this thing goes final, I think there's a lot more teaching that can be had for your football team to be better because of games like this and not so much a blowout.
How important is it to get a game like this early? Obviously helps being at home, but how helpful is this with a group that has had a lot of stars graduate from last year's team, that you kind of get into a little bit of a rock fight here against a team that you had handled a season prior?
You prefer it to be early because then you have other games to go apply the learning that you got and the teaching lessons that was extended from the coaches to the players. You don't want them at all. You want your team to have it all figured out, but we understand that is not always the case.
Fair catch called for by Gladden as he lets that one go into the end zone from Buddy Gomez. It'll be 1st and 10 for Kenyon from their own 25-yard line. And we have got you covered for DePauw football this year here on the ISC Sports Network. We'll have the final remaining 3 home games here on our airwaves, and of course the Monon Bell Classic coming up against Wabash to close out the regular season. First drive of the 4th quarter for Kenyon, trying to muster up some more offense. They scored the last time that they had the ball to make it a 1-score game. What does Ryan Dean, the freshman signal caller, have up his sleeve? Has to pick this one up off the turf. A little bit of a broken play. A little backyard football action. Trying to fight for it on the sideline was Carlquist. And the DePauw folks, who were right on top of it, saying it wasn't a catch, that Carlquist is out of bounds. And it looks like there's a little bit of confusion. They're going to spot this ball. They're going to say that Carlquist caught it, it looks like. I take that back as they're jogging back to the 25, the original line of scrimmage. I was waiting for the universal incomplete sign, and it never came.
I think that was the ruckus on the DePauw sideline, thinking that the official did actually rule it a catch, although it seemed that he was clearly out of bounds.
And if I remember, so I think Carlquist might have been the receiver in the first half for Kenyon that had the 2 feet out of bounds, and they ruled it a good catch. Dean back to the air once again, works that sideline in front of his own bench, trying to fall backwards, and that is a defensive pass interference as Charlie Taylor got hugged and hog-tied by Joey Fico.
I'll tell you one thing about this Kenyon Owls football team, Coach Ian Good talked about as the ref gives us the official call.
A little bit worse there at the end, just kind of grasped him a little bit around the waist. Wasn't a complete takedown, but the end of it was might have what drew that flag there.
But the DePauw fans feel like the call in the first half that wasn't garnered with a flag, where it was Dylan Carlquist who stepped out of bounds and then fought back for the possession of the football. Didn't feel like they should have gotten a pass interference on that play, as they felt offensive PI would have been the proper call in that first half.
Option pitch almost got thrown behind Jordan Benjamin, and he gets blown up in the backfield by Jeremiah Miller coming down from that safety spot.
Joey Rowland, once again, can play all over the football field. This is a guy that he said is just a heady football player, he being Coach Dietz, and said we should expect to see a healthy dose of Rowland because he's that special of a talent.
Loss of 2 in the Greenfield Central product. 2nd down and 12. And it feels like a must-score situation here for Kenyon, down by 2 touchdowns. Dean rolls. Good block from Benjamin. Out route. Threw it a little bit behind Comerford, and it'll be incomplete.
Feels like the run game for the Owls has been just to tame the outside perimeter guys from running too many routes in a short amount of time. They've been full-on air raid, it feels like, today. 31 pass attempts on the day for Ryan Dean. They've done a nice job executing, taking advantage of some big plays out there. Let's see if they can pick the intensity back up, as you said, on a drive that feels like it must be a must-score for them.
Kenyon just 1 for their last 6 on 3rd down. They're 4 for 9 here overall today. They need 12 yards. Dean, pressure, low throw, and he'll underthrow his tight end James Bernier. And now it's 4th and 12, and the punting unit on here for just the 2nd time today here for Kenyon. So the third time we'll see Tyler Bell boot a ball away. It's been primarily Dean, the quarterback, has 3 of their 5 punts so far. And Bell able to get that one away right before some Tigers got their hands on it. Takes a DePauw bounce and then a Kenyon bounce. And it'll be tapped down at the 36-yard line. So not a lot of time taken off the clock there if you're Kenyon. So DePauw, would you look to maybe try to burn a little bit more clock here, knowing you're up by 2 scores? I know 11:47, a lot of time, particularly with Kenyon having all 3 timeouts.
I think it's just about continuing to call the game. Plenty of time left for you to get into the actions that you want, the formations, the particular plays that you want to run, because at this point you've kind of generated enough momentum to where you can feel confident that, hey, we can go down the field and score. Let's continue to get that ball rolling with this next drive just like all the others.
Whitehead the back behind Scott Ballantyne. 1st and 10 for DePauw from their own 36. Play action. Ballantyne going for it up the seam, looking for Ricciardi, and he let him just a little bit too much.
Roughing the passer, number 11, on the defense.
Roughing the passer
50 yards to the previous spot. First down.
against Matthew Ehrenreich will be a fresh 15.
A lot of those plays today where you don't give up a big play, but it gets tacked on with an extra 15 yards, or you do have a big play and 15 more yards gets added onto it. It's all about the focus after the end of the play. Play through the echo of the whistle. Don't do anything that teeters the line post-whistle.
11th penalty today for Kenyon for over 100 yards. It has been an Achilles heel today for the Owls, and then one of their defensive ends jumps offside. A little bit too early there on the edge was Alex Knight, and that'll be another mark off here, and this moves DePauw down the field with no time off the clock.
Offsides on the defense. Defense moved, called the offense to react. 5 yards previous spot.
So Knight was in the neutral zone, sophomore D-end from Highland Park, Illinois. Should be 1st and 5 from the Kenyon 44 for number 14 DePauw, leading by 14. High snap, nice little bobble back to Ballantyne, and that ball got jarred free, and then Kenyon falls on it. DePauw turns it over for the 3rd time today, all on fumbles. And Aiden Jones out of the pile with it for Kenyon. And when it looked like DePauw was going to march down the field thanks to a couple of Kenyon penalties, the defense for the Owls comes up with their 3rd takeaway of the day.
That play from the start never really had a chance. I felt like that was the center quarterback exchange, high snap. I didn't feel like Whitehead ever really got a clean handoff exchange from Ballantyne. And then as he got hit in a compromised position, ball was jarred loose. That's another fumble recovery for the Kenyon Owls.
Three fumbles today for DePauw. All have been lost. 11.5 to go here in the 4th. They bring a corner blitz, and feeling that one was Dean. He had to get that one away quick with Joey Fico barreling down on him.
Some of the issues, too, for that offensive line with DePauw is due to a good amount of starters being out. Offensive lineman Zach Kerr, Jabril Muhammad, Gavin Ippolito. Those are all guys that have seen a lot of action but are down due to injuries, so young guys having to step into the fold. One in particular, and that's offensive lineman Mark Ortiz, the sophomore from Hinsdale Central in Illinois. You have to grow up a lot sooner than you thought and had a little trouble with that snap, but he'll be better because of it just through the experience.
2nd down snap. And that one off target, looking for Charlie Taylor, was Ryan Dean again. A couple back-to-back incompletions here for the freshman quarterback. Have not called Aaron Wagner's name much until he was in there defending. He was all over the place in that first half.
Yeah, he was. This whole defense started to fly around after the midway point in that first quarter, doing a nice job. Although they've given up some plays, it's not reflected in the score. Only 14 points. That's solid defense, probably not to the standard that they would like to see, but that's still getting it done defensively.
Just 4 for 10 are the Owls today on third down. Dean with Benjamin. Actually make that Thompson set to his left. Dean looking down the field. High arcing wobbler coming back to get it, and another defensive pass interference is drawn by Charlie Taylor as Aaron Wagner tugged onto that jersey of 17 in white.
Instantly knew that he made another mistake in that defensive secondary. As soon as you
23, 15 yards from the previous spot, first down.
As soon as you feel yourself in no man's land, although it's tough to do, right here, as soon as Charlie Taylor begins to work back to the football, just let him go. As soon as you pull that jersey right there in the open, they're going to get you every single time. If you give up a big play, understandably so, but you played it the right way. But more times than not, if he's backtracking to the football, it's underthrown. Live with the result without putting your hands on him more than you have to.
Fresh set of downs. First and 10 for Kenyon from the DePauw 39. They're down by 14, trying to knock off the 14th ranked team of the country. Empty set for Dean. DePauw rushes 3. Great protection. Thrown over. Tipped and intercepted. Picked off by Holt Hildebrand after the deflection. And now he's out into the open field and returns it back to the DePauw 40. Takeaway number 2 of the day for the Tiger defense.
This is the same guy that through the years, Coach Dietz said he's been primarily a special teams guy, but he's always giving our offense a great look in practice. This time he took the practice film to the game field, and he comes up with a key interception when his team needed it most.
So two teams trade turnovers here so not even midway through this fourth quarter. Back-breaking mistakes. About a 15 or 16-yard return there for Hildebrand, but back-breaking mistakes here for Kenyon. Whitehead on the give, runs the pressure in the backfield. He's going to go nowhere fast. A loss of a couple on that play. Tanner Smith, the first one coming through for the Owl defense.
Tanner Smith started this game with 3 tackles for loss, adding to that total. I believe that's 2 on the day. 1 TFL on the day, but a fumble recovery that he had in that first half. It seems like any splash play for the defensive line always goes into that tackle for loss category, but want to give the young man more credit because he's had a phenomenal game.
Loss of 1, second down and 11 for the Tigers, leading by 14. Ballantyne, high snap, quickly gets it out and able to go over and catch the wobbler is big brother Robbie on the sideline, just shy of the 50.
Did the double clutch. The ball was high and away outside, a wobbler right there, caught it twice. And as you said earlier, fingertip caught the back end of the football, did it once again on that one, that time in front of all of his teammates.
So here's third down and 2. Can DePauw score after getting a turnover like they had to start this second half off? And a whole bunch of commotion as every official wants to throw their flag here on the 3rd and 2 snap. And it looks like jumping into the neutral zone there was Alex Knight. Kenyon trying to say that they were drawn off sides by the DePauw offensive line, and there's a healthy discussion going on right now with our referee, Ronald Swindell. Here's the ball.
False start on the offense, number 75 and 74, 5 yards from the previous spot. Third down.
So that's the center, Mark Ortiz, and the left guard, Bennett Smith. You don't see a lot of false starts on the center, but either way, it's still moving DePauw in the wrong direction.
Sometimes you flinch a hair too quick at that center position before you're supposed to snap it. Don't know exactly what happened down there, but it doesn't always mean you moved the football, but you moved your body at that center position, and they got you for the movement too quickly.
So third down and 7. Third down and 7 with 9.5 to go. Ballantyne Flush out of the pocket, pointing downfield. He's got Robbie open. Catch in Kenyon territory and taking it inside the 30. The Ballantines find each other like the backyard in Crown Point, but a flag back in behind the backfield, and it's a hold. A tough break there for DePauw as the Ballantines had just had a big hookup right there.
Michael Kerr causing pressure once again. Offensive lineman Rylan Watkins, he was already beat inside. Don't make matters worse by tugging him closer to you when the quarterback gets out of the pocket. Offensive lineman got himself in a tough position, got the holding call, and it just so happened it was on a big play in that brother-to-brother Ballantine connection.
Now it's going to be 3rd and 17. DePauw's been good on 3rd down today, 6 of 9. But their biggest one they get today, a little dump down. Whitehead able to haul it in, good blocking in front, and he'll get back around the 45-yard line. Tackle the play by Alex Knight, and we'll see what DePauw wants to do. And it looks like they're going to bring the punting unit on. Here comes Buddy Gomez.
Playing with house money just a little bit. Understanding that you already are backed way up, so just do a nice screen, dump down, get what you can, and live to see another day.
3rd punt of the day for Gomez. His longest today has been 49 yards. Gladden back deep. A wobbler. He takes a Kenyon bounce out near their 25-yard line, and so the two teams trade turnovers and a punt here from DePauw. Their lead remains 14, but they're keep letting Kenyon hang around here with 8.5 left to play in this one.
And we see both teams have the offensive firepower to score quickly. Both teams doing so a couple different times today. So everyone on both sides have to stay locked in because this is still a football game, even though we're under 9 minutes to go.
Line of scrimmage is the 24-yard line for Kenyon. Yeah, today they have struggled on 3rd down, but can Ryan Dean cook up some of the magic that we saw on that first drive to start the game off? Fakes to Benjamin. Now Dean has to roll. Man in his face. He'll just throw this one into the DePauw sideline. He was getting welcomed by Dominic Siebel once again.
Siebel's been all over the field today, specifically in that Kenyon backfield, constantly causing pressure, made some TFLs, got a sack, had a forced fumble. He's just done it all today. Defensive lineman out of Indianapolis from you-know-what high school that we already talked about a couple different times today. It's just an athletic freak, Coach Dietz said about him. Can dunk a basketball, really is taking time to work on his body this past offseason to get bigger in the weight room, and it's paying off.
Dean on the rollout. Kenyon might have gotten away with the hold. A little out route, and that one led Comerford a little bit too much. Tried to get the toes down, but as he had to hop to catch it, Jared, it took him about 3 yards into the boundary.
Just needed a bit more room of real estate to get those feet down. The ball placement was high and outside, away from all the defenders, but it was just a little too wide for Comerford to really come down with inbounds.
That's a couple times that's happened today for both teams, where they're just about 3 yards. The field to be wider by about 3 yards, just can't get it.
I feel like we need to play on the CFL field where everything's a bit bigger.
Yeah. The receivers would sign off on that for at least for today. At least for today. 3rd down and 10. 4 for 10 is Kenyon today. Dean running. He gets hit and sacked. Siebel with the initial pressure, but then finishing it off was Blake Cole for his 2nd sack of the year.
There's that guy Siebel once again causing the initial step up in the pocket, tried to get his arm on for the sack. I don't know if they'll share responsibilities on that one as Blake Cole comes in and does the finishing act, but a nice job by the defensive line, only sending 3, but those 3 getting home for the improbable sack at the proper time.
Big time sack there for the Tigers. They came in with 9 on the day through the first 2 weeks of the season. Bell to punt. Low one that he drives out of there. Going to be short. Johnson lets this one just dance up the sideline. It takes a gigantic Kenyon bounce and roll. He'll get down at the DePauw 40. So a little bit of work to do here for the DePauw offense when that punt hit the ground. It could have been really bad if it took a left-hand turn. back to the offensive side we go for the DePauw Tigers. 7:29 remaining here in the fourth. They still hold on to this 14-point lead after the Ballantyne tush-push touchdown to start this fourth quarter off. 1st and 10 for DePauw from their own 41. Carson Johnson remains in the game here for the Tigers offense. Delayed reaction from everybody in the offensive line. A little swing route out to Johnson. We've seen what he can do with the ball in his hands today. He steps out of bounds at the 45. You like the positive game, but if you're DePauw, you want him to stay and play and let that clock keep winding a little bit.
The pre-snap operation has been all over the place for this offensive line and the quarterback communication. I see 4 offensive linemen moving, but left tackle, just Nick Ruiz, not moving at all. So I would just like to see them get that cleaned up, on top of the fact of staying in bounds, although the clock still is running. So I think they checked the box in that department.
2nd down and 6. Here comes pressure. Out route to Johnson. That thing was read perfectly by Finnerty. Initial pressure from Knight and a big loss for the DePauw offense. Back to the original line of scrimmage of the 41.
Because Ballantyne's head was turned to the left trying to find Carson Johnson, never saw Alex Knight. That could have been a horrible result of a play had Knight been able to get a bit closer to Ballantyne, but nonetheless still able to deliver the football to Carson Johnson, tackled for a minimal gain of 0. 3rd and long coming up.
4 wide here for Ballantyne in the pistol. He's thrown for 264 yards today. Pass completion's about 70%. Good blitz pick up by the DePauw O-line. Finds his big brother Robbie in plus territory at the 45 of Kenyon, and that'll be good enough for the 1st down.
Just like you probably did back in the day when you got in trouble with mom and dad, you just pointed to big brother, and instead of pointing the blame to Robbie, you just throw him the football for the 1st down on a 3rd and long. Nice job by the Ballantyne brothers.
14 yards on the hookup there on 3rd and 10. That's going to allow DePauw to take some more time off this 4th quarter clock as we dip below 6 minutes to play. Home opener for the undefeated Tigers. Conference opener as well for both they and Kenyon today. All afternoon for Ballantyne across the middle. Finds his man Ricciardi, who'll spin back at the 20 and get a couple extra hard-earned yards. Dominic Simpson finished off, but a nice spin by Ricciardi and another 1st down.
Ricciardi doing a nice job benefiting off of the route by Ballantyne. Ballantyne took 2, which freed Ricciardi up to be able to probe an open space. And we see what he can do from that slot position. Hooking up again with Ballantyne out of the backfield, finding his receiver down the field.
How about 26 yards there for Ricciardi? Just his 5th catch of the day. 1st and 10 from the Kenyon 19. This play broke down big time. Ballantyne trying to make something out of it, and he goes and finds Lukowski, who continues to add to his historic day for him inside the 5. Another 1st down to the 4. That's for 15 yards. Lukowski has been unstoppable today.
An unstoppable force this offense has been. Even when it feels like Ballantyne should toss that ball out of bounds, he continues to be a playmaker, finding his targets down the field. Haven't said Lukowski's name in a little bit, but it doesn't matter because when we do say it, it's usually synonymous with big play, and another big one for him as they get underneath the 5-yard line.
He came in with 10 catches for 131 yards today. He has surpassed both here so far. 1st and goal. And Ballantyne taken down in the backfield. One of the men in there on the stack was Aaron Reich, and now he's slow to get back up along with his fellow teammate who made the stop as well. So a tough break here for Kenyon. It was Cooney, the other man that got hurt. So Aaron Reich, Cooney on the sack, but then he's a little bit slow to get back up, and then Aaron Reich was a little casual as there as well. Aaron Reich back to his feet. Same thing, Cooney back up to his feet as well. Clock stops with 4 minutes left to play here in this one as DePauw still nursing that 14-point lead. But Leighton Lukowski has been phenomenal today. 10 catches, 136 yards, matching his season total in catches and surpassing his season total in yards here this afternoon in week 3.
Doing a nice job providing an outlet for Scott Ballantyne to find him time and time again. Doing an outstanding job, not just being a pass catcher, but being a tackle misser, because no one has been able to consistently bring him down. He's caught the ball. He's had yards after the catch, just doing an outstanding job at the receiver position.
Third sack of the day for the Kenyon defense. Carson Johnson the back behind Scott Ballantyne. Clock winds with less than 4 to play here from Greencastle. Pistol snap to Ballantyne. Looking far side, throws a comebacker, and getting it is brother Robbie Ballantyne. 4th touchdown catch of the year for the senior, and it's a 3-score lead for the Tigers.
Those brothers out of Crown Point have such synergy. Growing up in the same household, you see Scott clutches a couple of extra seconds to give Robbie a chance to get his head around, and as soon as he did, the ball was delivered right in between the numbers.
There was only one guy that was getting that ball in that play. That Scott was looking down Robbie the whole way.
That's what happens when brother is the one distributing the ball. He usually has the final say-so where that football goes.
And you know, with the receiver, with Robbie being the big brother, if the ball doesn't come your way, there might be a little complaints to mom in the parking lot afterwards, right?
That's exactly right.
So it takes 3:48 off the clock, 7 plays, 59 yards as Ballantyne to Ballantyne. Second touchdown pass of the day for Scott. First one receiving for Robbie after he was the conference player of the week after 15 catches and 244 yards in the win against Center. And with 3:40 left to go here in the 4th, 3-score game here for DePauw as they try to take the home opener here and make it back-to-back wins against Kenyon in the last 2 seasons.
Coach Brett Dietz coached teams here at DePauw 37-1 when leading at halftime. That's a hefty, successful record when you have the control of the football game here at Blackstock Stadium, which they did as they went into halftime with a 14-7 lead and allowed that momentum to roll into the second half of what they've done. As you can look at that scoreboard again, scoring 21 points in the second half to only Kenyon 7.
I did not look in the game notes. It did not say how many times they've led with a buzzer-beating touchdown to give them there wasn't.
I think there's an asterisk that has to go in the game notes
now
after today.
Asterisk equals buzzer beater at the horn for the halftime lead. We'll take it up with the Hall of Famer Bill Wagner after this one. I want to thank all the folks here at DePauw for their gracious hospitality today. First of our 4 regular season broadcasts here with DePauw football on the ISC Sports Network, and then of course the Monon Bell Classic between DePauw and Wabash coming up to round out the regular season. Fair catch called for. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 25 for the Owl offense. They've been hanging around here all day, just have had some unfortunate mistakes and missteps go their way here in the 3rd and 4th quarter that have put them behind the 8 ball.
But truth be told, Coach Ian Good said as long as they have something positive that they can put on tape and watch on the trip back home to get better from, then he would be satisfied. This is a team that he's constantly wondering and asking himself and the guys, what are we doing day to day, practice to practice to ensure that we are improving as a football team? And I have to be completely honest, they improved as a football team today, and if they can build on this, they have some success coming their way the rest of the season.
Dean's numbers today, 20 of 38 through the air for 53%, but he's had to throw for the majority of every down. They have not been able to get Jordan Benjamin going, but Benjamin, a good day on the ground, 60 yards rushing today, and he's been a pretty good option for him. Just had to go to the air, down by 2 scores for the majority of this second half. Pass complete to Carlquist. It'll make it 3rd down and medium. So here's 3rd and 5 from the Kenyon 30. For Carlquist, his 4th catch today to go along with his touchdown. Clock winds with 3 and change remaining here from Greencastle. Fumble on the snap is Dean. He dives on it and able to avoid any more disaster.
that feels pretty synonymous with what Kenyon has faced in this second half. Everything right in front of them, but just the basics get away from them and further compounds the lackluster effort that has been the up and down play in this second half for them.
And the punting unit on here for Kenyon with 2.5 left to go here. So the punting unit and Tyler Bell, junior out of North Dinwiddie, Virginia. DePauw brings some pressure, and the lefty rides her out of there. And turn it around and ended up right in the breadbasket is one of the coverage men, and Andrew Pullman on the tap down there. And with 2:14 left, a couple of snaps left, separates DePauw from their third victory of the season.
One thing I love that head coach Brett Dietz talked about was offensive coordinator Mason Espinosa being someone that more times than not he has to actually call the dogs off because he wants to light the scoreboard up almost to the point of malfunctioning and breaking it. An offensive guy that in his own regard is an all-time great in the NCAC with what he did at Ohio Wesleyan. Just an outstanding football player, quarterback, passing for over 11,000 yards, and he's passed down some of that same knowledge to these DePauw offensive players, which is simple. We're going to score a lot of points. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're still on the attack, whether it's on the ground or in the air, for these last 2 minutes of this fourth quarter.
That takes the 2-minute timeout. We'll break it with them. 21-point lead for DePauw, 35-14 over Kenyon here on the ISC Sports Network.
I felt like I became a totally different person at DePauw.
DePauw was really one of the first places that I had an opportunity to explore the arts, the sciences, economics.
DePauw gave me that chance to not only be a leader, but to teach leadership skills to other people.
And DePauw students are known for being well over-invested in their time and commitments, and yet somehow they find a way to do all of it. There's a hunger that we get that starts here.
Our students have a gold standard academic experience driven by faculty who know and care about each one of them.
We're fostering new ways of seeing and thinking, equipping students with a creative method that can be applied liberally to challenges in society, science, business, technology, and beyond.
The fact that a student might do a co-curricular program like Management Fellows whilst pursuing a major in the creative school whilst doing a minor in liberal arts is something you just wouldn't find at another institution.
2 minutes left to go here from Greencastle. 14th ranked DePauw Tigers lead by 21. Whitehead on the carry, trying to milk out the last couple of seconds here as he crosses the 50. Dominic Simpson on the stop, and been late in Lukowski's day, senior from Carmel, his alma mater, back to the normal high-octane team we've seen in the last couple of years with Kevin Wright back leading the stage there. But the Carmel graduate Lukowski has been phenomenal today. 10 catches, 136 yards, 2 scores, and obviously had the highlight reel jumping catch of the horn in the first half. Not bad when you match your season in catches and surpass your season total in yards.
And back to that point about his alma mater in Carmel, 9 offensive possessions last night, scored on 8 of them. The 9th one was actually the backup quarterback taking a knee. So I think Carmel it's safe to say they're back to their winning ways in 6A football back in Indianapolis here in the state of Indiana. But just an outstanding job by him, understanding that you are going to ultimately carve out a role for yourself when you just remain persistent. No matter who's in front of you or who's beside you, just continue to be yourself. And I think he's done that. And obviously the big playmaking that he's done today, that's something they can really use. And that's another layer to their team that they have moving forward in conference play.
We mentioned off the top, conference opener here from the NCAC for both these teams. Obviously, it was tied at 7 for the majority of that first half before the Lukowski heroics. Here as Ballantyne dumps it off to Will Castor, the starting 10. It doesn't get used a lot in the passing game, but a guy that head coach Brett Dietz said, hey, this guy deserves his flowers. A senior from Pendleton getting a little catch and run right there.
He had to play offensive line his last season at Pendleton because of some injuries, was scheduled to play tight end, didn't get that opportunity. Speaks to the selflessness that he embodies as a football player, so he deserves all of the great things coming his way.
Catch and run of 5, first down and 10. Clock stops with 93 seconds left. What impressed you most about DePauw today after getting pressed early here by Kenyon?
It's always going to be the response to adversity, because those are the things that you cannot control. You can't control when adversity happens always, so you just want to make sure that your response is one of boldness and obviously of confidence to remain persistent and just fight back, and I think they did that today.
Another timeout here taken by Kenyon in the final 91 seconds here. So DePauw's going to move to 3-0 on the year. Kenyon falls to 0-2. Like we mentioned, for Ian Good and his bunch, there's a lot of positives I think you could take from this game. You'll be frustrated by the self-inflicted wounds, the turnovers, the handful of 15-yard penalties they had today, but there's a lot of good I think that came from that Kenyon sideline today.
But the reality, when you're trying to revamp a culture, when you're trying to instill better values into a program, you can't stop the constant, which there are going to be games every week. There are going to be wins. There are going to be losses. But what you can control is the simple fact that each week you want to have something tangible that you take that you're better because of after each and every contest, no matter what the result is. And I think his team has been trying to have that mindset. The results haven't been there, the constant, but I think as they continue to go, that constant will flip in their favor because of the habits they've built in the interim.
Next up for DePauw, they're at Wittenberg next week, then back-to-back home games coming in here with Oberlin and John Carroll. You get both of those games here on the ISC Sports Network as Whitehead around the left side, and then that final regular season home game of the year will be here on ISC, and then at Wabash for the Monon Bell game to wrap up the regular season. If you want DePauw football, ISC is the home for you here in 2025.
Truly a spectacle. That Monon Bell game, had a chance to go a couple of years ago and just witness it from the press box with ISC and really be almost like a pseudo spotter in the booth, even though that's not why I was there. But just really fun to see both respective schools come in together, although they're rivals, and we know what the history behind that game is. To see the product that they put out on the field, I think it's really resembled one of the better history things in the state of Indiana in college football.
Well, it's like to hear the bell ring through when you got there to throughout the entire game. What's that like to hear that thing just ringing the entire time?
I think you just kind of get used to it after so long, because you start to acclimate to what are the traditions of the bell game, whether you're in Crawfordsville, you're here in Greencastle. So it's just something that's a part of the experience. And once you hear it the first time, it's like, okay, I could get used to that.
Final seconds ticking off here from Blackstock Stadium as DePauw will come away today with a 35-14 victory here today over Kenyon. It was 7-7. They both scored on their opening drives, and then the defense took over until that highlight reel play by, I think, our player of the game, Leighton Lukowski, 40-yard touchdown catch from the backup quarterback, Anthony Garzolini. And then DePauw comes out, gets the turnover to start the third quarter, and that kind of got them rolling in that second half.
Lukowski did an unbelievable job at the end of the half, where you think the game at that point has come to a rest, because you're going to go into halftime. The game is going to be tied. If you're Kenyon, you feel like you're in a dogfight, and next thing you know, Lukowski goes up, high points the football, catches the alley-oop for the touchdown at the end of the half. And if I'm being completely honest, I think that's when the game truly started for DePauw. I think Kenyon started well before that, but for DePauw, that's when the game started, and we see the result of that, because they then proceeded to rip off 3 touchdown scoring drives in this second half to really take full control of this one.
Lukowski finishes with 10 catches. That matches his season total coming in, 136 yards. That's 5 better than he had in the first 2 games, 2 touchdown catches. Robbie Ballantyne had a touchdown catch as well. Carson Johnson with a rushing touchdown. Scott Ballantyne, 28 of 38 through the air, 332 and 2 scores. Anthony Garzolini came in. He was 2 of 2, 44 yards, including the 40-yard score. So final score today from Greencastle is DePauw 35, Kenyon 14. The Tigers move to 3-0 on the year. Kenyon falls to 0-3. Special thanks to our great crew today, led by director Jordan Shu. Graphics was Wes Wolf. Replay, Vince Morales. Camera operators, Charlie Hammock, Juan Guillen, and E.N. Wheeler. For our fantastic analyst, Jared Thomas, my name is Rick Johnston. Where again, the final score is DePauw 35, Kenyon 14. You've been watching a presentation of DePauw football on the ISC Sports Network. So long from Greencastle, Indiana.